just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So I'm me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, steady punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team.
6 minutes.
For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
You had the circus or
I'm late. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Whoa.
Oh.
Hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. I think the mic's broken.
The mic is up.
The mic is up for see how long it's going to stay up. I don't
Heyo.
know. Heyo. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. We got a great show for you today. Sorry about not being here on Monday. The meteorologists,
Like a clock.
greatest jobs in the world.
Right, twice
They
a day.
give you the, hey, could happen. Everything gets canceled. I was like, well, maybe we shouldn't have a
Risk our
show
lives.
because maybe not be able to get out, flooding, if stuff. Everybody has families, stay at the house. And then we got nothing at my house. I know there's a lot of stuff elsewhere in different areas that kind of got hit pretty hard. Hope everybody's safe. Hope everybody's fine. We are back here live in studio. We talked about having more of a transition into baseball. We are going to have that. Drew Finley, assistant coach on the baseball team, is going to be in studio around 6:30-ish. We were trying to transition a little bit out of football. Football won't let you do it, though. They just will not
Die.
give in. The king is dead. The king is dead. The king is dead.
Ring the bell.
All hell, Nick Saban.
Moment of silence.
I mean, what an unbelievable career. Because the GOAT is no longer part of our nightmares, part of what ifs, part of everybody chasing him. He is now going to be sitting in his comfortable, cozy, quaint $17 million mansion in Jupiter, Florida,
Getting golf lessons from Tiger Woods.
for the remainder of his life. Probably doing some stuff on ESPN, so probably doing some TV spots. He is no longer the head coach at Alabama. They fired him. I'm just joking. He retired. He has stepped down. Obviously, he's had an unbelievable career. Greatest football coach of all time. I believe greatest football coach at any level of all time. Obviously, 6 national championships at Alabama, 7 in total with the one at LSU. I think he was a 9-time SEC champion there at Alabama. Plus, he won 1 here. 2 here. No, 2.
Oh, SEC? Yeah, 2001 and 2003.
In 2001, so he won 2 years. So 11 SEC championships. His accolades obviously speak for themselves. The win-loss record is unbelievable. 29 losses in 17 seasons at Alabama. That's less than 2 losses a year. That's stupid. That's never – I don't know if that'll ever happen again. Obviously Georgia's had their run, but he did it for a really, really, really long time. So shout out to Nick Saban. Shout out to his unbelievable career. And shout out to all the other schools in the SEC that are rejoicing and celebrating and acting like they just won the national championship. Yeah, congratulations to Michigan, who actually did win the national championship. But maybe Michigan. Thank you to Michigan, maybe. Michigan pushed them out. Michigan did it.
Tommy Rees is our hero.
Tommy Rees, thank you.
Thank you.
How does that feel?
Thank you to the center for Alabama.
So, obviously, thank you to the center for Alabama. Thank you to
Michigan.
Jim
Michigan. Harbaugh.
Thank you to everybody who had a part in this day.
Brian Kelly last year.
Yes.
He gets a hand.
Yes. Thank you to the NCAA.
That's
NCAA kind of warmed down, I think. Deion Sanders came out with a tweet today. NIL, transfer portal, entitlement. A lot of things, probably the way the structure of college football is changing, that maybe had something to do with it. Or maybe he's just tired and he said, you know what, I've done it for a really long time. It's time for somebody else to take over this machine that I have created. Now the next question is, who is going to be the guy?
I'll stop running now.
Yeah, I think I'll stop running now. Janae.
Janae.
The odds-on favorite to get the job right now, according to Vegas, and according to a lot of the rumors that were happening at the beginning of the year, before Nick Saban had retired or even thought about retiring, or maybe he had thought about it, before we even knew he was going to retire, is the next head coach at Alabama seems like it's going to be Dan Lanning. Who knows? He's the odds-on favorite. That's the guy that obviously a lot of people have had conversations about. There are a lot of options out there. There's going to be a lot of speculation on who it is. I would imagine that Alabama has already had these conversations internally, and they kind of expected this. Can't foresee Nick Saban just doing this out of the blue without consulting or telling anybody, because it's just what he's done there is amazing, and I think that he wouldn't do that to Alabama and just leave them in a position where they're not prepared. So we obviously are going to get into all of that.
Do you think that they were hazing Dabo Swinney? That's why he had the black eye. So you got a little Alabama, like your first rights to get into a pledge.
I don't think that was the case.
The scar was ring shaped.
Maybe.
Nick Saban, one good.
You gotta get the Alabama ring or something, whatever it is.
Brass knuckles.
Yeah.
He could make them.
It's aggressive. We're gonna get into all of that. Obviously, we're gonna talk a little bit about the national championship game. Obviously, Michigan wins the national title in dominant fashion over Washington. Their defense is absolutely real. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Obviously the headlines here are Nick Saban won, and then LSU starting to fill the coaching staff on the defensive side of the football. They hired their defensive coordinator, Will Baker. They got their man in Bo Davis. They got him from Texas. People thought that he was not going to leave Texas. He had announced that he was comfortable there and he was going to stay there. Well, that is not the case. He is now here. LSU gives him a 4-year deal worth $1.25 million a year. The rumor is that he was just as important as Blake Baker to get to LSU. So that is another big win for LSU outside of this Alabama incident. I'm interested to see the transfer portal, interested to see on the recruiting front what's going to happen. I would imagine Alabama's probably going to act pretty swiftly on this. Maason Smith announces for the NFL draft. He announces he can always take his name back out, I believe, right? Isn't that the rule? Isn't that a rule now, Lloyd?
What?
You announce doesn't mean you can't come back, right?
Yes,
you have a deadline that you can come back to.
They've kind of followed the NBA model in which you can go.
Which I agree with.
A grade.
Kind of get a grade, yeah.
Yes, instead of, because it was very much when you declared, and then it was you
Right.
don't have a choice to come back.
The
You don't
great
get
thing's
any
always
feedback.
been a thing in the past, though. So
No, but to expand on that, now you can meet with an agent and get all.
Yeah,
of
you
it.
can come back. Usually when you declare for
Right.
the draft, you're declared. No coming back to college. Now you can declare and still come back at a certain point. I think there's a deadline that you have to announce one way or the other. So keep an eye on him. Obviously, Bo Davis getting hired right after he makes that announcement. I don't know if that has any sway on him bringing him back or not. We will see. Men's basketball. We wrote them off. They didn't write back. 2-0 in SEC play. Everybody was hoping they would win one game. They've won 2 in a row, baby. They are 2-0. They're sitting atop the SEC West standings. In men's basketball, they look like a different team. They obviously have not played the toughest. Now, the A&M win was big. On the road against a top 25 Ken Pom team. If you don't know Ken Pom, it is the ratings, and it's kind of how they the selection committee kind of looks at your team and how good you are based off of schedule, based off of record, based off who you played, how you played against them, all those types of things. They go on the road against a top 25 team, beats them by double digits. Then they come home against Vandy, who doesn't have a great record, but take care of business. They win by 8 points. Jalen Cook's obviously been a huge addition to the team. He put up 28 points last night. And, maybe we got something going on. Maybe Matt McMahon's finally kind of gotten into these guys, and they're starting to buy in. But it's a different brand of basketball than we saw earlier in the season. That is good news. We're not going to talk too much about that today because we got a lot of other stuff happening. But 2-0 in SC play is huge. 37 days away from baseball season. 37. That's not that long. That's a little over a month. 31 days in a month. 30 days sometimes. 28 days sometimes in a month. There's 37 days left into the season. Guys are starting to ramp up. That's why we have Drew Finley in here to talk about kind of the offseason. Who should we look forward to seeing coming into the spring? Who needed to make some adjustments and get some work done and show that they're a different guy coming in after the Christmas break. LSU's base transfer class got voted as the number 2 transfer class in the country, right? That's on top of a recruiting class that I think was number 1. So you have the number 1 recruiting class and you have a number 2 transfer class. I want to say that was 2 years in a row. I think 2 years ago it was 1 transfer and 1 recruiting. And so that's pretty good. They're pretty equipped. The pitching staff's really good. Drew Finley obviously has a lot of insight into the depth of the pitching staff, so we're going to get into that. And the final piece of the puzzle, it's Wednesday. It's supposed to be Ask Mikie and Mitch. We ain't got time for that today. We got a lot going on. We're going to postpone the Ask Mikie and Mitch till next week. The last little bit of football news, Logan Diggs put his name in the portal, and Logan Diggs is now an Ole Miss Rebel.
Transfer to the SIP.
Transfer to the SIP. He did that, and best of luck to him. He will be their starting running back, along with the other guy who went back. What's the other running back's name? Whatever his name is. So a lot to talk about. We got a lot of energy today, boys. So let's have a good one. Jay.
Yeah.
I talked a lot. I know your eyes are watering because I've been running my mouth and flapping my gums for a long time.
Ulysses Bentley.
Ulysses Bentley. I knew it was a unique name.
Yeah, Mississippi loves their Ulysses over there.
Oh my gosh.
I knew that was coming. I saw it. I knew it was coming.
I'm done talking for a second. I need to get some oxygen back in here. What do you feel about all the stuff that is happening right now? 1, give me your take on the Saban stuff, right? Because that's obviously the headline. And 2, give me your take on some of these moves that LSU's made defensively and on the coaching staff. And honestly, try to connect the Saban move to how much it can benefit LSU.
So I guess my take on it is you go through a 365-day, 366-day leap year, right?
Yeah, leap year. Don't forget.
People forget.
Right? That's the take of the year. Football is only played for about 4.5 months, 5 months, and somehow it doesn't matter if it's in season, the beginning of the off season, the end of the off season, the start of free agency, the start of camp. Football finds a way to be king of conversation.
Always.
All the time in the sports world, right? Saban announces this, or the announcement comes that this decision has been made. It's unbelievable. I think everybody's kind of taken back on it a little bit. Everybody's a little shook up on it a little bit. I would have to imagine it didn't have to do a bunch with the loss
Right.
I can only imagine a man that's done what he's done, that's driven the way he is, that's geared the way he is. A loss would have probably made him come back. I think this
One
is
play
something
from a
that-
national championship.
Yeah, I think this is something that's probably been cooking for a while. I would imagine they have a very, very, very good idea on who's next and how they're going to run this thing going forward. But that's a man that it's not about recency bias, right? Like if you think about what he's done in the game, he's gotten himself to a spot as a coach that, honestly, as a coach, is almost impossible to do. As a player, it's pretty much the pinnacle of how you do it. But there's one name. Like when you reach one name and it's pretty much across the sports world and or maybe even outside of the sports world, people know who you are. That's when you know you've really done something, right? Mike, LeBron, Kobe, Saban, Tom, Brady, however you want to go. Like when you're known by one name, that's when you know you've done something that's not been really touched. Right. So, and that's where he's gotten himself to, and that's the kind of presence he's brought to football, college football, and it's been incredible. So that part of it is impressive to me. The LSU moves are they're coming together right now, right? Like you bring back Bo Davis, you brought back Blake Baker. You're putting together that side of it. I will be very, very, very interested in to see who's going to move now, right? Because like we said, okay, we know Saban's gone, right? And I'm sure they have a good idea, and I'm sure it's probably someone who has a ton of continuity with that place and or the conference and or somehow how to run that spot. But let's be honest. At this point, what he built there's players there on that roster that said, I wanted to be there because I'm going to play for Saban.
Marlon Humphrey, he's in the NFL, obviously not at Alabama anymore, but Marlon Humphrey tweeted, my ass would be in that portal the minute I heard the news.
So that alone tells you that. So it'll be very interesting to see with LSU bringing in Davis, right? He's coming from a place who we just saw played some really good football and some really good defense all year, right? Respectable. And they have a lot of recruits, and there's a lot of people that you can be pulling out of that state. It'll be interesting to see how this thing kind of goes over the next couple weeks, what players fall where, which players move where, because it's the Wild Wild West right now, right? Like that's kind of what this thing is. So it's going to be crazy to see it going forward.
Makes a lot of sense that Kevin Steele retired too.
Well, he already said the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the defensive coordinator. He's going, I'm gone now. And he didn't
That's
say
what I'm
that.
saying, but he retired, yesterday?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
He was there for what, 2 years? 1 year?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's a college football kind of lifer. He's
an
in the
SEC
grind.
West lifer.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And so to hear that announcement, there's probably some whispers, and I just saw Ross Dellinger tweet this. Which
And when Ross tweets something, it's good stuff.
So Ross Dellinger, per his Twitter, a couple of days after Alabama's semifinal loss, Nick Saban was in his office working. Today, he was on an SEC head coach's call, and he interviewed coaches for open staff positions both yesterday and this morning. Incredible.
Wow.
So I don't know if he's trying to fill the void or
No, that guy just works, man.
Yeah,
That's who he is.
That's gonna
he doesn't know anything different, and that's why I feel. And I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know how soon it'll be announced. I'm not really on the train where I think this will be announced. But you're crazy if this hasn't been a working that he's kind of probably known was going to be at the end of the season. And you're crazy to think that they're not already lining up the ducks to have who's next. That guy doesn't perform that way.
Well,
he doesn't do things like that.
You're crazy to think that Nick Saban would just retire and basically say, okay, I'm done, I'm going home. No, I'm not going to help you with anything, right? He's not just removing himself from the entire program and saying, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore. He's retiring, and there's going to be an onboarding. There's going to be, I'm sure he's going to pick his heir apparent. He's going to be there for the transition. And, so he's working there and he has to keep doing it business as usual. Make sure he keeps the recruits there. He's going to try. Obviously, do I think it's going to be a mass exodus? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But I think that you're going to see some guys in the portal that went there just for him, right? Maybe there was neck and neck and they really wanted to be closer to home. But then they were like, you know what? What's going to put me over the top? Playing for Nick. Okay, well, now that Nick's not there, I'm going to go back and transfer to the school that maybe I really kind of wanted to go to, not just the head coach.
I think, too, for his name, which is crazy. So it's very easy to say his actual coaching career there it will live in infamy forever there, right? But you know what else will actually grow that thing to the next level? Because let's be honest, I don't care who you get to come in that thing next. to say that he's going to do what Saban did and or better is as about a shot in the dark as you can get, right? So you would only imagine that he would be giving this next guy whatever and however and whenever what nuggets that he needs to be able to be successful at this job. Because let's be honest, the chances that you do what Saban did and all of a sudden he becomes the number 2 there, it's so slim to none that it's not even funny.
What's crazy, it doesn't feel like it's on staff, but because of just the turnstiles that he's had where he churns people out. Because being on that staff, you're either in the Alabama rehab program where you failed and needed a place to, get your 60-day guarantee, or you've been so good that you've been poached to go somewhere else. So now it's just a bunch of his ducklings that are out there that you have to go get. And if you're Nick Saban, I'd imagine he's going to be have a huge voice in the room of who's next.
No doubt. I mean, he's not going to just.
He's not. As I'm saying,
he's not moving away from the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options, right? There's a lot of people. There's a lot of noise.
That's the funny thing. Is Alabama good because of Nick Saban, or is Alabama? Will it become how long is that sustainable? Where
No. That's the thing. Listen.
What you talking about moving forward?
Right.
He's giving you the keys to a Ferrari, right? Now, there's a lot of ways you can drive the Ferrari. You can drive it because you want to be seen and just stroll on, and you got this. Or
and you don't know.
You could be Jeff Gordon, and you could be driving this thing and winning NASCAR races and be able to take this and understand how to use it, right?
Well, Coach, I mean, how much more could you do with the Ferrari? Nick had that thing floored.
That's my point.
It was running.
That's my point, though.
Can't push through the floorboard.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the guy replacing him.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Can't push through the floorboard. So, where are you gonna go?
That thing was topped out.
So you're giving him
praise Hale, praise Dale.
You're giving him an unbelievable opportunity. Whoever the next coach is, an unbelievable opportunity, a very good situation. But there's only one Nick Saban, and the guy may get the job and do very well. But here's the deal: 11-2 is really good. What Nick Saban did, losing 27 games in 17 years, probably not going to ever happen again.
And they were still calling for his head at times. The real deep down Alabama fan was, I think Nick lost his fastball. Blitz,
Right.
Bama blitz.
And so, listen.
You're walking into an absolute pressure
You're walking
cooker.
into a gold mine, but you're walking into a really tough job. Is it a good job? Of course it's a good job. Is it going to be a job that's going to be very easy to succeed? I don't think so, right? Because he's built a culture there in a way, right? They're going to try to bring somebody that has under his tutelage, right, has been underneath them before at Alabama, that has the same mindset and mentality, bring him to Alabama to try to keep that together. Now, they may for a year or two because it's kind of hard, but then the sustainability is going to be the difficult part.
You saw it with Sean Payton and Dennis Allen. Whenever you try to keep the culture that's there, and everybody that I would more liken it to the Patriots with Bill Belichick. Everybody tries to go get somebody from the Patriots because of the Patriot way and do your job. And dude, there's only one Bill Belichick. There's only one Nick Saban.
Patriots way is not really working much anymore.
I know, but I mean, think of Tom Brady. However you want to phrase it, but the Patriots dynasty, those two are lockstep.
Right.
If you try to go copy that mold and go get one of the coordinators or somebody that was just under a Bill Belichick or under a Nick Saban, it's not guaranteed to work because there's only one of them, some bitches.
Here's where it becomes hard to, I guess, reciprocate what Nick has done. Because of, like you said, the trend that he's had there is literally every coach that comes in is either on rehab and in the fast track to being the next head coach and or professional ball offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator next, or it's the young and up-and-coming guy who's not there long and they bounce. That's really been his trend lately, right? So if that's the trend and you bring somebody in as the top guy under him, are they going to be able to replace these guys at the same? Because if you keep running with success there, like say you go back next year and you have 10-plus wins, you don't think everybody's still going to be poaching at every one of his assistants? Can you now come in and be able to basically play ventriloquist, right? Keep moving strings in and out and still churning out the same success. That's where this thing becomes hard because it's not like over the last 10 years you've seen just the same faces there in the same spots in the same roles doing the same thing. That's not the case. So being able to do that is going to be the really tricky part.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be I
think it's going to be tough because we talked about this a little bit before the show where what Nick Saban left LSU as was in such, like you said, a gold mine. It was such a great place to be able to come where even a Les Miles could come in and win immediately because he had so much talent in the pool that it was like, all right, there was no transfer portal, there was no NIL. It was, these are the guys that are here. Look what I'm giving you.
Not even, but it's like what I mean by that too is like so you want to talk about Les, right? Like let's just think of where this thing was when Les jumped into this thing. You still had Jimbo Fisher pre-national championship as a head coach. You still had Todd Monken, pre-national champion as offensive coordinator, right now offensive coordinator to the best team in the NFL. You still had prime Bo Pelini. You still had young Corey Raymond. You still had young Stacey Searles, who's the offensive line coach with USC right now. Like, you had all of those dudes running the show under you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what talent you actually have on the team. It's very obvious that now when you look at it forward, like, oh, shit, they had some dudes coaching too.
Yeah.
And it mattered. So that's my point. It's not about the talent that you bring in and out. What are you teaching these guys with? What are you developing these guys with? And it's very obvious that Les did great here. But you can't undermine the guys that were also working with him and working under him at the same time, who actually came over from the Nick Saban tree as well.
Oh, but yeah, there's the famous picture of the 2003 staff where it's
Right.
like head coach, head coach, head coach, head coach.
And like successful head coaches. But I think to your point, right? To your, you want to finish your, because
it's-
you
what I was-
talked. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
go
what
ahead.
I was going to say is like Jared's absolutely right. Like it's unbelievable the tree that Nick Saban built, especially at LSU. But I was going to say the reason that I think the two situations are different from Alabama to LSU is the ability to recruit Louisiana. Nick Saban had the keys to the kingdom here. Like you saw him come in and get talent out the state, pretty much carte blanche whenever he wanted at a time where it was, okay, Dylan Moses is from Louisiana on the cover of ESPN magazine, I'm going to snake him. Like he would always get one or two guys from Louisiana, and I don't know if Alabama has the same, like I guarantee you they don't have the same pool of talent in Alabama to be able to go.
You can hire a really
whoever
good
you
coach.
want.
They're just not going to be Nick Saban, right? Like they don't have that name to carry that weight, right? So I think what Saban did at LSU in a short period of time established the program as a bona fide winner, right? A program that you can go in there and you can win quick, right? But he only did it over a course of 4 years. Saban did it over the course of 2007 till now? What is that, 15 years? 16 years. So he did it for a longer period of time. So the footprint, right, and like the stability of it is still there. But at the end of the day, the guy who replaces him has to be able to walk into a guy's room in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and say, hey, listen, we're still Alabama. We're still going to be really good. We still got all these talents. Yeah, sure, but you're not Nick. So it's going to be a little bit of a harder sell for the new guy, no matter how good he is, because nobody's going to have that resume. And so I think that's where the challenge is going to be, right? It is surrounded by good coaches that are there, and it's surrounded by a stable program, but you're going to have to replace the name.
Dead.
You know what I mean? The king is dead, and so and I don't mean that in like a morbid way, by the way. Like
No.
it's a quote from like movies like
A Knight's Tale.
yeah, like whatever Game of Thrones or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. But man, it's going to be interesting. Like they're going to have to make a decision to try to keep these guys. Like they're going to have guys leave. That's just the way it is. You're not going to be able to keep the whole recruiting class intact.
Des Ricks already tweeted, damn. And he was a former LSU defensive backs commit that flipped on signing day to Alabama. So those are the kind of guys that you have to keep an eye out for.
No doubt.
Here's a question. Do you rush the decision process because you're trying to keep this
class?
group of this class in there, or do you make sure you do your due diligence and get the right guy in, because to keep that machine going means you need to do more than just have one class that's good?
No, I think the second part, obviously.
So, and I think that's another reason why I think I'm not saying it's, hey, we're going to go on vacation and figure this thing out when we get back, but I think there's the rush process, or what seems to be like we got to get this thing going because we got to keep bodies here and or keep recruits to their commitment. I'm not sure that that's the rush on it right now, knowing what Alabama is, because if you do land the right hire, if you do land the right name, I think it retains a lot of damn.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
I'm back on board. You know what I mean?
And I also think that Saban's going to be in the building until they hire somebody else, right? So, like, Saban's going to meet with these guys. I imagine they're doing it right now.
Which he may still actually be on the phone calling these guys, be like, hey, look, I'm trying to keep you here.
No doubt. Look, school's about to start, so these guys are probably
Oh, what a terrible day to walk on an Alabama
like,
campus.
yeah, but I'd imagine these athletes are probably back on campus. And so it's not like he has to call them and like talk. It's all going to be in person, right? And so I'd imagine he's going through these meetings right now, and he's going to be around the program in the locker rooms, in the offices, making sure that this transition is smooth. So do I think it's going to be a mass exodus? No, because I think he's going to be there to be able to like talk some sense into the guys and say, hey, hold on. We got a plan. Trust me on this. I brought you here, and this is why I'm retiring. This is what's going on, and I promise we're going to put you in the right hands. So I think it's probably going to be more of a wait-and-see thing than just a mass exodus of players. Man, we're going to talk about this a lot more. We're going to get into this throughout the course of the show, but our next guest, you may want to put the mic a little closer to you.
You may need that.
Yeah, you may need that. You can pull it up closer. You can do whatever you do. Get comfortable. You know what I mean? Assistant coach to the baseball team. Look, slide this. Yeah, look to the left under the tree. Watch. Does that not work? Yeah, but it's like, I'd go this way, and then I'll go that way.
Give it a little swivel joint. Give it a little spin joint, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go. So, assistant coach. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Why does it keep swinging?
That's good now.
You sure?
It's got to tighten. You got to tighten it. See the little grip?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tight.
No. The grip, the hand. Yeah, that one. No. The one that. Yep, that's the one. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Righty tighty. And we fixed it. Look at
There we
that.
go.
Assistant coach Drew Finley. What is your official title?
Director of Pitching Development.
Director of Pitching Development on our show. Obviously, we are a sports show.
No, we're a baseball show.
We are a baseball show right now.
Proving it.
A lot to be excited about. Obviously, there's a nice event yesterday at the casino, Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. You had a nice panel with Roger Clemens, and you had a bunch of coaches. You had Saban. That would have been
Saban
great.
was there.
That would have been great.
You tell anybody he was retiring.
I mean, you had technically Saban. You had Skip, right, which is basically Nick Saban of baseball, right? So you had Skip there on the panel. You had Paul Maneri on the panel. You had Coach Bianco Mike Bianco on the panel. Obviously Jay Johnson, and then Ben McDonald. So you had a lot of championships, right, and a lot of connection, a lot of intertwining of careers, and so it was really cool to see that. And then you had another panel of Roger Clemens, Roger Clemens, Dylan Cruz, Todd Walker, Ryan Terrio, Will Harris, a lot of really talented players. And so that was also entertaining. And so it kind of like was a jump start into baseball season. First pitch banquet is a week and a half away. Yep. Not this Sunday, but the next. We will be there. We'll be having our show from the VIP room. So go out and buy your tickets, show up to the VIP, and come hang out with us. It's sold out. Never mind. Can't buy tickets.
Buy tickets anyway.
Maybe go outside and scalp them.
Yeah.
You can scout the tickets out in front of the hotel. We're excited to be there. Baseball season's heating up, and there's a lot of hype. Obviously, defending national champions. Different looking team, very talented team. Maybe just as talented, if not more talented, just in different ways. The team's going to look a little different. Give us a little insight into what you are looking most forward to this season, and what can the fans look forward to?
I'm just excited to get back into it. Obviously, the year ended on a high note last year, winning the whole thing with a lot of emotion, a lot of
way to put it.
Right? It was pretty cool, right?
Pretty high note.
Yeah, that was awesome. But I'm just excited to see all these guys kind of flourish into what we thought they were gonna, what we know they can be. Obviously, LSU fans are gonna see a lot of new faces, especially up the middle. You know, losing Dylan Cruz up the middle, Jordan Thompson, guys who've been there for 3 years, Gavin Dugas last year. So you're gonna see new faces. You're gonna see transfers, freshman play. You're gonna see guys who are returning like Paxton Kling, you know, get work out there. So it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be really fun.
People, you know, that's loud and echoey.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Fans,
Yeah.
watch last year and they say, "Oh, well, LSU's offense was one of the best ever," right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is obviously you had Paul Skeens, so you had two of the best players in college baseball, maybe the history of college baseball.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I feel like the structure of the team is going to be a tad different. Obviously, I think the offense is going to come into their own. They're going to be good. I don't think you can compare this offense to last year's offense. I think it's going to look a little different. You don't have the firepower and the experience that you had in this lineup that you had last year.
Yeah.
But I think where you miss on that, or where you, like the parts that are you're lacking in the lineup, you make up for in the pitching rotation.
Yeah.
Right? You have the depth, I think, is better than it was last year. I think the talent from top to bottom on the pitching staff is better this year than it was last year. I know you're directly involved with the pitching staff.
Yeah.
Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, totally. The depth is it's gone a lot better. You're not going to see your Riley Coopers go out there 3 times a weekend or 3 times a week and go out there and pitch. You're going to see a lot more guys, once, twice a week, maybe twice a weekend, depending on how things go. But we'll see more how it unfolds throughout the season. You can only kind of guess at this point, but just offensively, I think we're going to still be good. I mean, we're returning Tommy Tanks, who has, I think, 52 homers in his 2 years, and put it in perspective, like Dylan hit 58 in his 3 years. So, like, we're going to get power through him. Hayes Tremansky's coming back. He's averaged a home run every 10 at-bats. So if we get that kind of production with what we know we can get with the younger guys, I think we're going to be just fine on both sides of the ball.
So you bring up, we kind of like mentioned the depth. Now, since it's a baseball show, we're, baseball guys.
Yeah.
I have never, through all of my days of playing baseball and being involved in baseball, seen a pitching staff with 10 lefties on it. Right? And that's obviously not the entire staff. Now, when we started this season last year, this was supposed to be one of the deepest pitching staffs that had ever been put together.
Yeah.
Injuries happen, baseball happens, things happen, and it ends up not being that. It ends up being a really good pitching staff, but not as deep as it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate, not necessarily on who, but the type of arms and the type of stuff that you're going to see coming out of this pen this year?
Yeah, I think you brought up a good point with the lefties. I remember my first year here when it was Jay's first year. We only had, I think 3 or 4 lefties on the staff, and 2 of them that we used highly. But this year, I think you're gonna see a lot of velocity. These kids are throwing really hard nowadays, so it's actually pretty cool.
Like showing up throwing hard.
Yeah, I mean we have like Cam Johnson showed up to campus, and he's over there throwing 96 to 100, and we're like
top freshman in the country.
And voting top freshman in the country.
Yep.
So we're seeing stuff like that. Then we're seeing guys, Louisiana kids, Cade Anderson and Jake Brown go out there and sit mid-90s. So we're seeing a lot of talent run through this place, not only from the freshman class, the sophomore class, but also the junior and senior class as well.
You mentioned Jake Brown, right? Obviously, Jake Brown's on the mound, but it seems like Jake Brown's probably earned his way into a starting spot in the outfield. It feels like, right? Like, obviously, they haven't come out with the rotation, the starting lineups, but based off of what he did in the fall and based off of how advanced he kind of feels at the plate, it seems like he's going to be a spot in the lineup pretty early on.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he's done a lot of good things, and we're seeing him be one of the fastest guys on the team, track down balls in the outfield, take really good at-bats, not swinging balls. So we're seeing a lot of good things from a freshman who's very mature for his age. So that's a lot of good things. We're all pretty happy about that, but the name of the game is got to go out there and compete and produce. So we'll see how things unfold.
Is there somebody on the team that young maybe has been on the team that people maybe forget that was on the team or don't really know anything about that you're excited about, that other people should start getting excited about?
I think we saw a good glimpse of Paxton Kling last year, early on in the year. I think the injury, set him back a little bit. So I'm really excited to see a full year of health with him, seeing the things he can do, because he was highly touted out of high school when he showed up to campus as well. And then again, later in the year when we get Chase Shores and Jaden Newt back, hopefully from their injuries, that's going to be really cool to see that we have this big a depth in the team. And at that point in the season, hopefully we're in the top of the SEC standings.
You have a guy on the team, and like I said, I haven't seen it, and you're around these guys a lot more than I am, but he was on the team last year, and he didn't pitch, but SEC stats or whatever, whoever it is, starts posting all this stuff during the fall and saying he's been up to 99 miles an hour, and that's Aiden Moffitt, right? So I was told by a scout today, I was at lunch and I saw a scout that had scouted me when I was coming out of high school and kind of been around the game a really long time, basically said this kid is up to 99, but he throws a 96 and 98 mile an hour sinker ball that's nasty. Has he kind of opened some eyes, and is he going to have a pretty significant role in this coming season? Because people forget he was on the team last year. He's very talented, but he didn't really pitch. And so people may have forgotten he's there, but I've heard nothing but good things about him.
Yeah, really good kid. Started off really respectful kid, super smart, really good teammate. Loves being around the guys. Always comes with a smile, which is really cool. You don't see he set the precedent of how to act as a teammate, because he didn't get a lot of playing time last year, and he was with us all the way through Omaha, being a really good teammate, and that was awesome. And then he put in the work every day, got back in the zone. And, I mean, when he's in the zone, that stuff is electric. It's a bowling ball. And you guys know, you guys face those guys, like bowling ball, funky, tight slider. Like, if he's in the zone and everything's clicking how it has been going, it's unhittable.
Jay talked about last year, going into the year, how important it was and the work that you guys did as a team and as a staff of creating and kind of growing and kind of putting together a culture of family and togetherness in that clubhouse. You roll over a year, there's a big exodus of really good players, really good leaders for you guys.
Totally.
How has it been kind of letting these next guys graduate to that next level of being a big leader and also kind of bringing in some of these older veterans who have played other places in the country that are your transfers that are coming now to, one, not only help as a player, but they have to step into somewhat of a leadership role as well?
Totally. I mean, having LSU cross your chest is a big thing. There's a lot of tradition here. So we create the culture and we create a standard, like this is how we do things here. And we want to leave places better than how we found it. So guys come in, set the precedent, show each other, like, hey, that's how we do things at LSU. This is what we expect. This is how we're going to do things so we can win, not only on the field and off the field. And guys kind of start getting more mature about those things. And you see things kind of click. And when you're with the same people every day, like, you build a bond. You get to know your friends, know your teammates. And all that stuff's just been kind of clicking on all cylinders right now, which is actually cool. You know, we graduate so many guys got drafted.
Is it different getting that message across to the guys after a championship than it was getting that message across to guys before a championship?
No, I think it just starts with the leadership. I think you have returners from last year. You have older returners like Hayden Trubisky, Alex Milazzo, who are not afraid to be a captain. You know, Hayden's wearing number 8, Alex being a catcher. A lot of catchers are captains, like they'll control the game within the clubhouse, within the dugout. So you see things like that. So they've done a really good job doing that. But in terms of everything, like, everyone talks about, like, defending the championship. Like, they're not going to come take the championship. Like, we won that. Like, obviously we want to go win it again. Like, we're the reigning champs, but they can't take that away. So we know the blueprint to it. Now we just have to bring other people with us. It's like climbing Mount Everest. So this is the way, like, I look at it. It's like climbing Mount Everest. Like, the person that guides you up is someone who's done it before. So the people who are returning, like, hey, we've done this. We got to the peak we want. We want to bring these people to see, like, how cool this is.
Show you how it is.
Show you how it is. Because, like, this thing is cool. When you get there, like, it's awesome. And I guess I was special. Like, I got to see it from the bullpen. So everybody rushed the field. And, like, that was a cool experience for me. Like, that was awesome.
So you have a lot of new faces, right? You have a lot of, obviously, freshmen that are coming in. You also have a lot of guys that have been there but maybe have more significant roles this year.
Yeah.
Another guy, a guy who's coming in, a transfer in from South Carolina.
Yeah.
He's going to be our starting shortstop. And, you know, from all accounts and from everything Jay has said, as he's made a lot of improvements on the offensive side of the baseball. Yeah. He's very good defensively.
Yeah.
Now, I guess if there was a question mark, right, for the team, it's maybe the depth of your position players with the experience and the guys you can count on up the middle, right? Yeah. So, like, you know, if tomorrow he rolls his ankle and he's out for, you know, however long, you know, is that something that may be concerning? Like, who would you replace? You know, is there somebody there that, you know, younger guys that you feel could step into those roles and develop?
I won't particularly, like, bring someone up. Like, sure. I think with our staff, like, we brought these guys here for a reason. Jay's brought these guys. Coach Jordan's brought these guys. Coach Jesse's brought these guys here for a reason because we know they have ability. They have ability to do stuff. So if something like that does happen, it's next man up. Like, because I know, like, if Tommy's been sidelined or if someone else has been sidelined, they're, hey, like, to the younger guy, hey, that's how we do things. It goes back to that whole leadership thing. Like, they're there every step of the way, which has been really cool. The leadership has been great. But in terms of that, like, we'll see everything kind of unfold, especially at the plate. Like, I mean, the last year, facing Paul Skeens every other day for these guys, like, same thing here. The depth of the pitching might dominate our hitting for a little bit in the fall and the early spring, but once we get into league play and we face another team in another uniform, things are going to spice up a little bit.
Now, let's go ahead and go back a little bit down memory lane. Let's reminisce a little bit.
Love that.
You, high school draftee, you go into pro ball, you spend your time in pro ball.
Yeah.
You leave pro ball, you're done playing, you come here as a GA basically and have graduated to where you are right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Experiencing college baseball in the SEC, different. We all know that. That's obvious.
Yeah.
Right? But getting to Omaha and after hearing what you've heard about Omaha your entire life, even through your time being here at LSU, what was that experience like from your viewpoint, and was it what you expected, more than what you expected, or where was that from you?
I have this conversation with a lot of my friends back home. Like, being on the West Coast, like, Omaha was a thing. Like, we obviously watched the College World Series, but it wasn't like the grand destination. Like, college baseball wasn't so prominent out there because there's other things to do. Like, I'm from California, I'm from San Diego. So, like, no one really thought that. I was like, hey, let's go play baseball, have fun. If I get drafted, heck yeah, let's do that. And SEC was never on my mind going through the recruiting process. Now I'm here, I'm like, whoa, this place is definitely what it pans out to be, what everyone kind of lights it up to be. And then getting into Omaha, obviously playing was super cool. Seeing the atmosphere, seeing the LSU fans was cool. But at the end of the day, like, I remember like being in a hotel and like trying to weave my way through that through that lobby of all the fans.
Yeah.
It was like turning left on Nicholson, trying to get into the U Club at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. Like, it was impossible to do. But I thought that was like the coolest thing, was seeing everybody down there showing support, wearing the purple and gold. Like, that was cool. And like, my parents were out there. My dad's in professional baseball, and he's like, that was unreal.
Is it so? Like, I'm so glad you said that. Like, you have that conversation back with your boys back home right now,
yeah.
with your parents and probably family members and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is it easy to paint that picture for them? Like, after going through it now, even though like that's something, like you said, it's not really a thought. It's not something that people are looking to do. It's not July or June comes around, into June comes around, and people in San Diego are like, hey, let's try to make that trip to Omaha, even though we have no affiliation to – like, it's not a thing to do. Is it something that's easy to make them understand, like, how special of an experience that is?
Yeah, I mean, all my friends back home, I have a really small circle, so they all watch the games, like big sport fanatics. I know my buddy with the Rockies, they were watching in the clubhouse and stuff like that, so that was really cool to hear. Painting the picture, like, it's easy to paint. It's like, hey man, like, you watch like all these LSU tailgates on the football, like, that's exactly what it was in Omaha, maybe times 10. And then like the jello shots, I have photos and videos, that was super cool. And like, I remember my buddy played at UCLA, and they were number 1 in the nation back-to-back years, 2 of the years he was there. And like, I remember he was there, and they're like, opening day, it's a Friday night guy versus Friday night guy. One guy win the first round, the other guy win the first round, and there was like 100 people there. And we're facing Southeastern, and there's still 10,000 people there. It's 9 day different, like, out here, and it's like super cool to see that, because you don't get that experience. Like, you guys, we all play professional baseball, like lower level minor leagues, you don't get those fans.
No.
Like, maybe in the Midwest, maybe you get 5,000-6,000, but.
And that's only like at a couple spots too.
Yeah, but there's no passion behind it. They're watching the game for the entertainment. They're not there because they're pulling for it.
Yeah.
And then obviously our season's 56 games, not 162. So every game's like Game 7 of the World Series. It's a playoff, and that's how we approach it.
Yeah.
Lloyd, you got something?
Oh, yes, I do have one question for you. You mentioned Cam Johnson, and I just was interested in the entire like recruiting process, because LSU's able to get big names. You see the Bregmans, you've seen the Cruzes, but this, I mean, Cam Johnson tops those in terms of just the rankings. You being involved with being the director of pitching development, I just want to know what kind of that recruiting process was, where it comes down to, I'd imagine, a couple of conversations, but even at the end of the day, when the draft comes, you're still kind of holding your breath.
Totally. I think Jay does a really good job. I mean, everyone seems to know what Jay has his mentality if he wants to go win in every aspect of the game, whether it's on the field, recruiting, community service, everything. Like, does everything well. But in terms of like actually like the recruiting process, I have no affiliation with that. I cannot do that. I cannot go actively recruit players. I'm here when they have recruiting visits, so I'll chat it up with them, tell them my story. I don't really do anything to sell them, because I'm not allowed to do that. But
well, how bad did you want him then? When you saw the tape, well, how bad did you want to coach him?
Oh, 100%. Like, you see these kids, they're all like 6'4", 215 of pure muscle, and I'm like, man, like, how hard do you throw? They're like 95, 97. I'm, how old are you? They're like a junior in high school, and I'm like, dude, remember I was like 90, 93 was like the top velo of like 2015. But yeah, all that stuff's super cool, and like that's my favorite part is like talking to these kids, because you just kind of like flashback to when you're going through that process, and you just remember like how cool it was to take your first visit. So you try to make it the most for them. Like, hey, like everybody on staff, whether it's someone who can actively recruit you or someone who's just like a minuscule part of it, like myself, like just be able to like show, hey, we want you here. We like enjoy you being here, type of thing. Like, this
go with Milazzo to Lake Beaupre.
Is that where they live?
No, that's just
you're about to out his fucking address?
Spot over there.
I think Lake Beaupre is, rest in peace.
I say that's
it's still there.
That street's got to be not the same.
It ain't the same as it was, Coach.
I mean, but there's about 7 Lake Beaupres now.
Yeah. It used to be
it's
one.
too far away too nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not. No, that can't.
The
be.
old Lake Beaupre is where all the bodies are buried. Almost Mikey's.
Well, what?
Is there a
Did you
story
fall off
behind
a
that
scooter?
one?
Fall off the scooter in Lake Beaupre?
Was that not like Beaupre?
That was not Lake Beaupre.
Oh, okay.
I didn't fall off. Okay?
Still got it.
I just wrecked.
Yeah.
You know? There's a difference between falling off and
Good. Getting out
And
in front of
wrecking.
your skis.
yeah, it was not a smart move by me. Bad move.
I didn't fall off. I crashed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds way better.
Yeah, right. I mean, if I fell off, I'd be a little uncoordinated. Just a motor vehicle challenged.
Yes.
You know, that's kind of how.
Stay
Gas.
clear of them on the highway.
Yeah, a moped challenge right there.
Oh, you should listen to this man in the car. Every day he calls me whenever he's on the road, and it is just.
I'm aware.
Yes, you're very aware of what's going on around you.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I wish the windows were down.
Well, you know, sometimes it's long days, and it's just you get very upset sometimes with other people who aren't very courteous on the road.
You guys gonna kill somebody.
You
I
know.
love like driving through this place and you see like bumpers like duct taped to the cars. I think that's the funniest thing about this place.
That's mine right now.
That's Lloyd's has exactly what part of his.
Oh,
He says right now, what he means by right now is for the last 8 months. It's been
You can't even tell, dude.
I don't even know. Is it duct tape, electrical tape,
Shout out Flex Seal.
Flex Seal?
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
like my
You never
buddy-
got it fixed, huh?
No, I mean, who's to say? You can't even notice.
I mean, look, you're good with it.
Yeah, one side is the good side, one side's not the not so good side.
You have
So I
another
park
question?
in strategically.
so you only take pictures from the other side?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's just like a person. Ready for my close-up.
You don't hit yellow poles anymore.
Yeah, I can't.
You can't learn your lesson.
I learned my lesson.
You got another one?
No, all good.
You said you had another question. I thought.
No.
Oh, you just
Did you get scared to
you
ask
just
the
gave me
question?
the you just gave me the sign like. Question?
I didn't do that.
I saw it. I saw the sign.
I think
No,
you
I
gave
was
me-
turning your headphones up. They like.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can think of one.
So obviously,
Come on, guys. We talk shop a lot.
no. We're good. He distracted. I thought he had a question. Y'all are talking about Cam Johnson, right? Obviously, he comes in and projected maybe in 2025 as being potentially the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
Right. He's gonna come. Part of the reason why he's here is because some teams were, not very sure about his medicals, right? That's you don't have to confirm nor deny that, right? But that's from what I was reading. They just weren't very sure about, do we trust his medicals or whatever, right? That's every draft, all of these for big prospects. That's just what happens. Him coming in here and having the rotation, having the experience in the rotation that you already have. There's not a real spot right now that you can just say, okay, hey, he's going to be just slide right into that weekend rotation role. Is it looking like more like a back into the rotation type of guy, or back into the pitching staff type of guy, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, high leverage situation, so that you could potentially use him on Friday and on Sunday and get him twice in one weekend?
I think with him, it's just like continue to develop. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's here for a reason, and whether you're a freshman in college or you're Clayton Kershaw in the big leagues, like in year 15, like every day you're trying to get better.
Yep.
You're trying to find some sort of advantage in your game so you can get better and continue playing the game that we all love, because obviously it ended for us at our times.
Yes, it did.
It's going to end for everybody at some point.
Yeah, it ends for everybody, and whether Cam, it's going to be all production based. Like, this team is so deep that we don't have roles. Like, the roles are in there to go in there and get outs, whether that's in the 5th inning, the 1st inning, the 7th inning, the 9th inning, the 20th inning, like whatever it is. Like, when we call your number, go get outs. Like, it really does not matter. Like, if you're a team guy and you care about the team, go in there, do your job, get outs, and that's all we can ask. And shake hands.
How hard is it to convince like 18, 19, 20-year-olds of something like that, right? Like we just talked about, like, there's 10 lefties on this staff. This staff is supposedly deeper than any staff that we've seen. And I'm not trying to just bump it up. Like, I kind of truly believe it, and I really want to see it kind of come to fruition, because I'm interested to see what y'all look like on the mound this year. But how hard is it to convince that many guys with front-end talent, like, let's just be honest, that, hey, they've been told everywhere they've ever been, for the most part, that you are the Friday guy. And they've been the Friday guy, right? Like, everybody don't just play on Friday, but they've been the guy on their pitching staff. How hard is it to get those guys to truly understand, hey, man, like, you may not be throwing on Friday. We just need you to get outs whenever we need you to get outs. How hard is it to convince those guys that?
I would say, like, we just preach exactly what you said, like, go in there and get outs. I know everyone was, whether they're coming out of high school or coming from another college, like, they're the top dog of their program or their high school, that they felt all the love, they were the guy, and they come in here and it's like, okay, well, we have guys who are juniors that have done it in this league before, that have success, and it's their time. And those guys who are the front end stars, like let's just go like Paul Skeens last year. Like he took guys under his wing because he knew when he gave the ball up to the next guy, like he wanted them to do so well. So not only like the team won, but it's like a showcase. Like, hey man, like I want to lead you to where I am right now. I want you to be as good as me, if not better than me, type of mentality. And it's like you're only as strong as your weakest link, the last dog in your pack. That's how strong you are, and that's what these guys kind of.
No, I'm laughing at that. Like the narrative that Cade Beloso spent on ESPN of I'll work harder than you, I'll work harder than you, and it's totally not who Paul Skeens is, and ESPN just took it and ran with it.
100%.
And he is like, Beloso, you buried me. Like people think I'm a total asshole now, and then to hear like the actual version of who Paul Skeens is the exact opposite of I'm better than you. It's like, dude, I want you to be better than me.
Oh, 100%. And like that's just, again, it goes back to like you want to leave the place better than you found it. Obviously, Paul was only here for 1 year and made significant impact into the program for the rest of the LSU baseball history.
College baseball.
But he just college baseball. But like him and Dylan like set the blueprint. That's the standard. Like how to be a superstar, not only in this team but in this league or in general. Like that's how you do it. Don't talk about yourself. Pump up your team. Bring your team with you. And at the end of the day, like you guys will all flourish in many ways.
You talked about Paul. You talked about a lot of the guys from last year, right? I think a big reason why y'all were so good last year was because obviously the talent, but you had a great mix of young guys that were making impacts and older guys, right? I'll consider Dylan Cruz and Paul older, right, because they're juniors, but even more than that, you had Belosos and you had Travinsky who's back and you had Dugas and you had all these guys who have been there for multiple years, 4th, 5th, 6-year seniors. Yeah. You don't really have that as much. You have a couple, but not as much as you had last year, right? You don't have as many guys that are old and been there and experienced, but with the playing time that those guys had last year. How do you replace that? Do you have guys that are kind of stepping up? Obviously, you have Travinsky and Milazzo there, but are some of these other guys that have been there for a few years kind of stepping up and trying to take over that type of role?
Yeah, totally. I think these, like I said, Alex and Hayden have done a good job controlling the clubhouse, policing the clubhouse.
Got their own show. I'd like for them to come on here. I feel like,
you're going to have to pay top dollar for them to come.
I mean, hopefully, like, they don't, supersede our show. You know what I mean? Like, I'd still like to get some of the guys on ours.
Well, if all things go well, they won't be here after this year, so they'll be doing professional baseball.
Well, somebody's going to keep the show alive, I'd imagine, right?
It's valid.
Maybe we do it.
Take over it.
My whole point is I think we should collab on this deal. Like, I mean, we're open for business on the in the dirt thing. If you LSU Gold, if you're listening, we'll go out there and throw in a bucket.
In the dirt.
In the dirt.
In the dirt. I like to get the in the dirt guys on here.
Yeah, we're trying.
They've been on here before. Let's get them on together.
They've been on that's not in the dirt. Nice to get a little nice collab on there.
Yeah, y'all should do it in the outfield.
In the outfield.
In the grass.
In the grass.
Now we're talking.
Hey,
Everyone brings their dogs to the field now. You can get some puppies in there.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Kirk Herbstreit's out there. What? With it, they always brings Ben everywhere. They got the Kirk Herbstreit.
How did that happen? Like, because it wasn't all year. It just started like.
Booth during the national championship.
I think it actually
did
start this year. I think he's been doing it like all year.
The whole year this year?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
he's
I
been
read
doing it
something
all
about
year.
But did he he didn't start publicizing it until like midway through the year, right?
Finally got him passed to be able to travel on the airplane.
Yeah.
Plane. He's an emergency.
So why?
Now
People didn't start making it a big deal until like the back end of this year, but like Lloyd said, he finally got it to where he was like an emotional support dog and he could fly with him. So he's gone on every trip with him, and I think
what was the reasoning on like how did that come about?
Companion, dude.
Is he
I don't know. He's on the road.
Is he old? He's about to die? Is it like?
No, I just think we talked about how like his weekend schedule in the season like it's crazy,
right.
And I think he was doing all this by himself, his family and everybody's still in Ohio and everything. I was like, man, can I bring the dog? Yeah.
Wow, good for him. That's awesome.
And he's got Pat McAfee, who's basically like a gold retriever. He's got two of them.
They got a lot. They got a lot happening right there on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah. Let's dive into that.
Do you really want to do that? I don't think so. Look, I think you did a really good job today coming out here and saying, okay, it's time to get back to sports, right? I think for about a 2-week stretch, they had a lot of political conversations, and that's not what he wanted the show to be about.
When you shake up the world, there's inevitably going to be some people that
no doubt
don't like how because you're not really conforming to what the norm has been.
No doubt, and I think that for
the Norby has been.
Look at you.
I said the norm. You over here name dropping. See, this is how this thing gets started.
I don't think me and Norby are going to cross paths anytime
I
soon.
said the norm.
That's fine.
We said we weren't going to do that. You said you weren't going to do that, but you can't.
I think that there's another.
They
There's
want
a
to dive
couple
into
other
that.
names.
He didn't apologize for that though.
No. Never.
He stands by that, which, look, good for him.
There's a reason why that was aired on Hour 3.
Yep.
Nobody watches that one.
So they say.
So they say.
He didn't get on ESPN with nobody watching him. So, yeah.
All right. To wrap this thing up, right, we're still talking about team, obviously. We're talking about it being really close to baseball season. First pitch banquet's in a week and a half, right? What's the schedule look like leading up to that, right? You have guys are coming back to school. School starts, I guess, next week.
Yeah, next week. So I think Monday's like Martin Luther King Day, I think.
Oh, is that next Monday?
Hey, show some respect,
Yeah,
dog.
Jesus.
God, oh,
I
man.
don't know if it was next Monday or the Monday after that. I forget the
I
date.
think it's this upcoming Monday.
It's the 10th. It is it's
Yeah.
coming Monday. Yeah.
So I think
Get that on the calendar.
It's on there. I don't have to go to the office. I don't have to go to the office.
All right, well,
Oh, that's what you're excited about?
No.
Wow.
I just
Wow.
know it's on the calendar because I know I don't have to go in the office.
Bet you like that school was off too.
That was very nice.
Thank you, Martin.
I mean, it was off for President's Day. It's off for Mardi Gras. It's off for, there's a lot of reasons why it's off for
There's
school.
There's a lot of off of school at this point of the year.
Yeah, we have like
There's a lot of
day
that.
They have the day off for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Tuesday starts school, so they can come back and we can be with them full time. Like right now, the guys are just trickling in on their own to get some work done, get themselves prepared for the season.
So there's nothing structured right now.
No, I think it's all player ran. I think if guys are here, they're kind of getting together and doing their own thing.
Is somebody taking the reins on that? Like, is there somebody that stepped up and kind of been? I would
think
imagine last year it was probably like a Cruiser or Skeens. Is there somebody that you've kind of seen at the forefront of leading like these player workouts? You hear the stories of like Joe Burrow in 2019, like made sure that all the receivers got together and threw on their own time. Is there something like that with baseball where it does not necessarily coaches driving the process and their player that stepped up?
Yeah, I think it's just been Alex and Hayden. They've been driving the reins the whole way. Then on the pitching staff, Ackenhausen's been a good leader for us, so that's been kind of cool to see. They just say, hey, I guess we want to win national championship. This is how it starts. Like, let's get in here, get early, get ahead on stuff, get acclimated to the Louisiana weather. It gets cold here, in the early half of the season. So let's get going and start building those relationships and start needing out some of the things that we need to do before we go play a real game. You good, man? You
I'm
laughing
good.
at me? What's going
I'm
on?
good.
Choke
Long
him up
day.
a little bit.
What?
You got him choked up over there.
I guess so, man. He wants to go play.
He loves.
It was, look, I want to be out there. Repeating as a national champion is tough, but the lead up to it and the anticipation and the work getting to it is kind of exciting, right? Because you're a target and there's a target on your back.
That's
Different-
that's a cool thing, though.
Right, I agree.
Targeting back, it's nice.
No
At least
doubt.
for
You have
me,
to
I'm
embrace that.
competitive. I like that stuff.
Felt like they embraced it last year. Y'all embraced it last year, right? Now, y'all didn't win a championship going into the year, but y'all had all the hype. Y'all had number one team in the country, consensus number one team, and there was a target. Now the target's even bigger because same conversation's happening. It's just this time you are the defending national champion. So it's a big responsibility, but it's something that, like you said, very exciting.
Yeah, that's why we play the game. That's why we're in
No
the
doubt.
game. Like, you play to win, you coach to win, you're in the game to win. So, no pressure.
First team, full team scrimmage.
Oh, good question. I would say probably the weekend. So for that Friday. So maybe next Friday.
It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be so cold next
We'll
week.
do like in the middle of the day or something to kind of
Coach.
get some of the warmth.
Ain't gonna matter next week.
2 sleeves.
The lows are in the 20s.
Oof. If it was like it was a couple days ago, where it's just windy as hell.
Dude, it's the wind chill here that gets me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna
what it
be.
is.
It's supposed
Yeah.
to be in the 20s next week.
I remember we played in like La Tech, and it was like 20 degrees, rainy, windy.
That Louisiana
Worst
cold with
game
the
experience
windy
of my life.
stuff is the worst.
That's bone
I'm
chilling.
down
coach.
there. I don't have like a thermal or a sweatshirt. I'm wearing like this Nike Pro Combat long sleeves, thinking I'm good. Nope, nothing. Got a cold after that one.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Don't be tough guy. Don't be the hero.
Well,
It didn't help it. It was like the first inning went down to the bullpen. I was like, oh my god, I was down there for 3.5 hours.
They don't have the big huge heavy
thermal
jackets.
coat?
Yeah, they don't have those parkas. I mean, we do. We just didn't bring them, or we couldn't find them. I don't know what happened. We just didn't bring them on that trip. That was not a fun trip.
Tough.
Oh. That's the Giannis on
Post game spread got lost. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Like, it was
There's a lot going on. Not great.
going on.
Not great, Bob.
Gotta worry about North Louisiana.
yeah.
They're tricksters.
We're excited for the first pitch banquet. We're excited to be there in a week and a half. Obviously, we're going to be in the VIP area, so come stop by, right?
Yeah.
Walk by, come hang out, sit down. We have 45 minutes, we were told.
Tight 45.
Tight 45 minutes. It is a strict, hard to 45, so we're going to be in and out.
45.
Yeah, F45.
F45.
Functional
Done
45.
45 before, yeah.
That's it.
Mikey bounce.
It's,
me in-
yeah.
catch me in there doing some,
I'm in the weight game right now. That's it.
Catch me in there doing some up downs.
Yeah.
Those burpees, man, awful.
I didn't do it today. I don't know what y'all talking about, so that's great.
Chris today was like on the ground, like just looking at the sky, like, oh my gosh, what did I sign up for? He's like, all this hit me, I'm crushed.
The big burpee days are tough.
Oh, man.
That's a tough one.
Was it like the burpees before the workout type?
No,
deal?
it
Do you
wasn't
remember
that
one.
those?
No, it was-
I might have walked out if it was
Ridiculous.
that one.
Yeah.
Tough.
Good workout.
Well, there'll be no burpees next Sunday, right? We will not make you do burpees at our F45, our hard 45 show. But
45%.
if you're planning to go, we're looking forward to seeing you. Come and stop by the show. Come and hang out with us. We're going to be talking to, decent amount of players. We, like I said, don't have a long time to do it, but give some insight. Talk about the event. It's a great, really good event. Last year was sold out, biggest they've ever had. I imagine this year is going to be even bigger. So go out there and support the boys, and we appreciate you. As always, come on the show. We're going to have you along a lot more. Obviously, baseball season, just
I'm gonna
the
get
beginning.
so busy, I'm not gonna come on.
It's okay.
I'm kidding.
You can call in.
We'll do the. Do you remember what team was it? Where it was?
Yeah, your phone works. We'll call in.
Yeah.
You bring a laptop on the road, we'll call in.
Do you remember when those people like the college kids called into the bullpen and they actually got somebody like get?
Oh yeah, like the A&M, like
Yeah,
the
it was
A&M
A&M.
bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if I believe that one.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Dude, a bullpen phone doesn't have a real phone number. There's no area code.
He
There's no
said his boy
it's
was
not-
on the team.
555.
555.
Yeah,
I can
maybe.
remember it.
Oh, we
Do y'all have walkie
yeah,
talkies?
we do walkies. They're
Yeah, I think that's what
encrypted.
started.
You
A&M
can't
started
Y'all
tell
should just
what
do
they-
Nextel phone. Hey, where you
But
at?
then worst case, if they don't work, we have like signals, like hey, the tall guy, like we'll do stuff like that.
Yeah, the big.
I like the nice
Stallion.
signals. The signals used to always get me going. Yeah, I used to like that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they get creative. They
Coop
get
was
creative.
like, we did like knuckleball for Coop, even though he never threw it last year. I was so pissed because I think it was so deadly. Like you throw it like in bullpens and it wouldn't move. It was like
I thought
Y'all are really
Coop-
nice
I thought
about it.
Coop may have been this one.
I'm about to say, y'all are really nice about it. I like when people get like
this
personal
way.
with it. I like when people get
Well,
personal.
you got a lot of
with it.
those.
Now they do.
Yeah.
It would be like funny, like Jay would be like, get Coop hot. I'm like, all right, 2 pitches later, it's Coop hot. I'm like, he just got up.
Just
And
stood
I'm
up.
He
like,
just
Coop- I'm
stood
like,
up.
Coop, you hot? He's like, yeah, I only need 8 out there. I'm good.
I love that. Love that. That's
Dude, that makes
the
zero
definition
sense.
of just a guy.
Dude, the whole pitch clock doesn't make sense. The umpire tells you have 8, but you have like 2 minutes to do it. And it's like, if 2 minutes is like the time allotted and that's the structured time, like I can't start before 2 minutes. Why can't I just throw for 2 minutes? It makes zero sense.
Yeah.
Like why throw 8, be done in
We're
a
making
minute,
baseball
minute
better,
05,
okay? Relax.
Like, oh.
They're, yeah,
All
they're,
right,
that's
relax.
what it's about. It's about getting them quicker innings.
We gotta
That's
cut
what
the
makes
time
people-
limit down. Even though the national championship game just lasted 3 hours and 60 minutes, no big deal. We gotta cut this one down because people
45
only will
minutes,
watch
60 minutes.
baseball
I think that's 4
if
hours.
it's shorter. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
That's what gets people to the games.
Well, I gotta go get my tiger dog and my Dippin' Dots.
There you go.
Perfect time.
And your
2
beer.
minutes, I'm back.
We appreciate you, dude. We'll have you on again here soon. We'll see you very, very soon. We'll see you at the first pitch banquet.
Sounds good.
Appreciate you,
guys.
dude.
Awesome.
Our next guest, we're just going right into our guest, is friend of the shows, obviously.
Frequent flyer.
He is milking
Frequent
the
flyer.
fact that, wow, you're just going to leave him hanging, huh?
I was gonna stay like this the entire show. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Obviously, he is very milking this good luck. We're good luck charms to them. They have the women's basketball
want
team.
from us?
Joe Schwartz, Joe Ratty, Joe Natty, assistant coach for women's basketball. They have the longest active winning streak in women's college basketball, and I
look
like
now.
to think that we're a big part of that.
Don't look now.
All right, there's a reason why you're seeing a lot more of him because they have not lost on the show.
Undefeated.
He did not come on the show before the season started. They lost.
And we have not shied away from it.
We have not. We are embracing it. There's no jinxes here, baby. We are locked into it,
Ain't no
ready
such
to
thing as
go.
curses.
Y'all had a tough one. You had a challenging one in Ole Miss.
Yeah.
You ended up winning the game, not by the gaudy numbers that y'all had been winning games by, but I think that's good for the team in the long run.
Yeah.
What did you learn from the team after the 11-point victory in Ole Miss?
Well, going into that game, we actually talked about the past 2 years that we've played them, we hadn't beat them by double figures. Obviously, the goal wasn't to go beat them by double figures. The goal was just to win the game. But I think seeing that we were able to get out to a big lead, we go up 13 at half. We still gave up too many points in the first half. We were getting killed in the paint. And at halftime, Coach said, let's try and get in the bonus early, get to the foul line. And I don't know what didn't register with our girls, but it kind of was the opposite. They got to the bonus quick. They got to the foul line, shot 17 free throws in the third quarter. Ole Miss isn't a great free throw shooting team, but as we saw Sunday, every team that we play, we're going to get their best shot. So Ole Miss, they're scrappy. They play hard, and they shot way above their free throw percentage on the year. And I think a lot of that has to do with I know I was hearing the tail end of y'all talking about baseball, that target on your back. You're going to get everyone's best shot, whether you're number 1 in the country, number 7 for 9 weeks in a row, or you're unranked. If you've got those 3 letters.
I felt like a little dick. Felt like a little dick. Y'all still, I'm looking at y'all still number 7.
Yeah.
Who lost in front of LSU?
NC State lost to Virginia Tech, but we beat Virginia Tech by 20, so we're still behind.
Holding firm.
Yeah. So, hey, 7. Give us whatever ranking seed, whatever.
Gonna play them eventually.
But when you have LSU on your jersey, I think there's a level of respect from opposing teams, but at the same time, they want to beat you. And I think we saw that against Ole Miss. I think this year in our 3 road games, we've set attendance records for their team. And I think that says a lot about what we've built here at LSU, what Coach Mulkey's done to bring relevance to this program. I think it's you tip your cap to our players, Angel, Flage, Haley. And Coach was telling the team this today, and I thought it was real interesting. We're not one-dimensional. There's not just one player that fans are coming to see. Everyone on our roster has some sort of connection to a fan in that arena. So whether we're at Ole Miss, whether we're at Auburn this weekend, wherever we go this year, you can count on the opposing team trying to fill their stands. So I think you've got to be ready for every team's best punch. And we took that from Ole Miss. I mean, that was the best game I think Ole Miss has played in a while. Their coach even came out and said, like, LSU's a show. And Ole Miss kind of got lost in the show. They were playing hard, but boom, they cut it to single digits. And just like that, we're back up 15, 16 points. And there's no doubt we can score the ball. I think we've showed that. I really don't think we have anyone that's selfish on our team. We've got some kids that do a lot of really good things, and then there's some things that we need to work on. But
what are some of those things?
I think turning the ball over is a big thing, especially coming from our guards. We're not hitting players when they're open. You got to get them the ball quick, especially in this league when you've got good post defenders, when you've got quick, tall, lanky wing defenders. You've got to be able to deliver passes when players are open. And I think the other thing is just defense. It's not what you want to hear as a player, but our defense isn't where it needs to be right now. We're trying to hold teams under 70, and we're giving up too many points. Now, we've got a tough one with A&M on tomorrow.
At home.
At home.
Tomorrow at home. What is the on TV?
It's actually not.
It's not on TV.
This is a Network Plus game, I think.
Well, you mentioned TV. It's very obvious, like, the NIL thing, I think, across the really big schools on the men's side is kind of a wash. I think we can all sit here and agree with that. When it comes to the NIL situation on the women's side, there is no doubt about it. LSU is on the short list of schools you'll think about, right? And the attention that it draws to it, and how you just mentioned, LSU is a show right now, especially in women's basketball, right? When you were here last, men's too, they're doing it 2-0. When you were here last,
I was going to ask you a question.
Yeah, when we were here last, you talked about those underclassmen having to step up, and they're getting playing time a lot earlier in the year, like meaningful playing time a lot earlier in the year than before. Scale of 1 to 10, if you can kind of explain, where would you see the confidence level on the underclassmen stepping into such a bigger stage than they've ever really been in playing in their life?
We've got one freshman in particular whose confidence is probably at an all-time high at all times.
I got your ankles over here.
Yeah, some of the stuff that Michaela Williams did in that Ole Miss game, and it's not just on the offensive end. Yeah, the offensive end is where all the highlights come from, but leading up to that game, Coach Mulkey challenged more players on our team to take charges. Well, Michaela Williams took a charge in that game, her first one of her college career. But, yeah, the audacity to pull up on a 3-on-0 and shoot a 3 in transition.
She pulled a Timo Cruz from Coach Carter.
And she made it.
Yeah.
Now,
Timo did too, didn't he?
Yes.
Now, to her defense, Angel and Flage were running the floor, so if she misses it, we probably still get the rebound. But I haven't seen that since Coach Carter.
A movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's just not something you take the layup in that situation. But she was feeling it. She was feeling it from 3. She made a girl fall all the way to Tupelo. I mean, that was disgusting. I was like, oh, she for sure pushed off or tripped or whatever. But I mean, that was one of the more impressive plays I've seen by one of our players since I've been at LSU.
So y'all got A&M tomorrow night.
Yep.
At LSU, SEC Network Plus, 7:30 game in the PMAC. What challenges does A&M bring to you?
So interesting. Something's got to give. We lead the nation in scoring, a little over 90, either 93 or 94 a game.
Nice.
I think right over 94 a game.
Solid.
Average.
A&M leads the nation in defense.
Right, giving up how many?
They're giving up a little under 50 a game.
Okay.
So
The unstoppable object and the immovable.
I think that's right. I think you did that right.
Maybe backwards? Don't quote me.
It sounded good.
Baseball show.
Sounded good.
Newton's third law.
now A&M's offense isn't
That's not what that was.
as good as it has been in the years past, but it's a lot better. They've got some transfers. They got a big-time transfer from Oregon, point guard, and then they've got a transfer from Auburn, who was a post player at Auburn, but now is playing a lot of the 3. So it's going to probably present a little bit of a challenge.
But y'all have big guards too, though.
Yeah.
Flage is a pretty big guard,
Yeah.
right? Maybe not as far as like,
Yeah, but she's
tall, right?
she's
long.
tall, long.
Rangy.
She can hang.
Her improvement from year 1 to year 2 has been unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. The game has slowed down so well for her.
You can tell.
And it's fun to watch because some of the stuff last year, you're just like, she's got to get off the court. And now it's like, we don't have a reason to take her off the court. And back to what Jared was talking about, confidence, like we've got to keep putting these younger kids, these freshmen in big minutes. I thought Del Rosario came in against Ole Miss and gave us some great minutes. Janae Kent came in right before the half. We got to stop on an inbounds play, and that's big right there. I mean, you break down little things in games. It's a 13-point game with 3 or 4 seconds left. We had to pull either Poa or Haley out because they had already had 2 fouls, and coach is like, I don't want to pick up their 3rd foul right there. So you put Janae in. If Ole Miss hits a 3 right there, they get all the momentum going into the half, but you get a stop. You go in the locker room up 13. I mean, that's a big difference right there. So I think the confidence is growing for a lot of these kids, and it's cool to see as a collective unit of freshmen. You've got a leader in Michaela who is bringing these freshmen with her, and these freshmen are like, oh, well, if Michaela can do this, then why can't I do it? And that's contagious. And then as an older kid on the team, an upperclassman, you look down and you're like, oh, well, our freshmen are doing this. Our freshmen are getting extra shots in the gym. Our freshmen are trying to learn. And then you're like, all right, well, we run our certain offense, high-low offense, get it to Angel at the high post, and she dumps it down to Aaliyah. And in the film room, coach is like, Angel, why did you pass Aaliyah the ball there? Because, honestly, 12 feet outside the paint, Aaliyah's probably not going to do anything with it, and Angel says, I want to build her confidence. So confidence, in my opinion, is very contagious, and when you're using it in the right way, it feeds, and that energy just gets better and better throughout the game, and that translates throughout the season. And then you look up late February, early March, and everyone's confident, you're playing your best ball, and you're ready to make a run in the tournament.
The game tomorrow is not nationally televised. You'll have a bunch of nationally televised games. Obviously, the defensive. Why are you laughing at me? Why you giggle? Why are you giggling at me?
There's a joke that was made on Twitter that I just saw.
Oh,
I won't say it out loud.
we can't share with the class.
No.
Okay, don't share with the
I'll
class.
share it off air.
Yeah. Obviously, y'all are playing a team that's going to try to make you play sloppy, right? They're going to try to put you in a position where get you out of your game, frustrate you,
First
do those
bad third
types of
quarter
things.
of the year.
Yeah, and I jinxed that because
Yep, good job.
I normally don't walk out of the locker room at halftime with Coach, but she grabbed me and asked me a question about something, and we're walking out, and I said, Coach, our third quarters have been great. She goes, yeah, we just got to get to the foul. And I said, we're outscoring teams by 13.1 or 13.9 in third quarters this year. She's like, well, hell, let's do that. And then I look up, and we give up a 13-point lead. And, but we got it back. And
It's all right. You need those things. You need those moments where you have to figure out how to get through them, right? Because there's going to be adversity. Your schedule's only going to continue to get tougher, right? You have this game, and then you have a game on Saturday.
Sunday.
Sunday.
At Auburn, ESPN game.
There you go.
So that's another national televised. One thing I will say, though, like you were talking about A&M, and it's probably pretty similar in football. Style of play is such an important thing that we focus on as far as personnel, and when we get into scouting reports, I'm not going to go into crazy depth, but you start the conference season against Missouri, a team that will play you 5 out, shoot a bunch of threes, likes to go in transition, and then you got to turn around and play a team like Ole Miss, who only makes 3 threes a game, and they like to slow it down. They like to be scrappy. They like to be in the gaps when you drive. It's just completely different style of play. Well, now you play a team like A&M that's kind of a mix between the two. They don't have any deadly three-point shooters that are just going to kill you, but you got to respect them. They make 6 threes a game, and they shoot 20. So they shoot a pretty decent percentage, but 6 threes isn't going to kill you. What's going to kill you is transition defense. You're not getting back, giving up wide-open layups, and then putting teams on the foul line. And Ole Miss, that was just disgusting to see them just free throws after free throws after free throws. And you look and you're like, oh, well, were they fouls? Yeah, they were fouls. I mean, I hate to knock Anissa Mora because she's been playing great basketball, but 6 of their free throws came on 2 of her fouls. You can't foul a three-point shooter, including one with 0.4 seconds on the clock, a kid that I think was like 1 of 14 that game from the field. So just being more disciplined. And then you'll go to Auburn this weekend and play a team that's very similar, in my opinion, to A&M. They can score a little bit. They're not just going to kill you from 3. And then you got Alabama, and then you have to switch your mindset to Arkansas because they're a team that just likes to fire up threes. And then you got the big one, which we'll worry about when we get there. They've got a lot. So being able to take a group of kids and have them kind of reset each game as we're going over a scouting report, but also remember, like, hey, they might have one player that we need to guard like we guarded a certain kid on Missouri. Like the point guard from Missouri, she just wanted to get downhill, drive, and pitch. This kid from A&M, Rogers, their point guard, she's the type, if you go under a screen, she's shooting it. If she gets to her right hand, she's going all the way to the basket. So you want to force her left. Her left hand's not as strong as her right. But like I said, I mean, we play against our practice squad, our dream team. The past couple weeks, it's been Jalen Cherry and Queen Spencer, former LSU players, who are coming to make our girls better. And Coach said it like, if you can guard these kids, you can guard anyone in our conference. So I think it's just attention to detail, continuing to lock in on certain things and just keep improving. Like at the end of the day, our starting lineup's only played 5 or 6 games together. Right. So that's not an excuse, but it does give us a little bit of leeway. And something's going to give tomorrow. I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, I don't know the last time we've scored in the 70s or 80s or low 80s besides Ole Miss, but we can score the ball at will, and they play really good defense. So we'll see what happens.
Switching gears a tad, right? You know, before the year started, you talked about a big question mark or a big something that y'all needed to happen was someone needs to step up to take over that role as a point guard, right? Be the facilitator, be the leader, be the captain of the team, right? Basically captain of the offense and kind of the engine that everything goes. Men's basketball, right, feels like they've kind of taken a turn for the better.
Yeah.
Right? And I think a big part of that, they've been a completely different team when they've gotten their point guard back. And Jalen Cook, is that something, I mean, as being a basketball guy, I'm sure you pay attention to that. Have you seen a big difference in that?
I have. I actually watched the second half of the game against A&M and was trying to watch a little bit last night. We had that the thing last night. But I think when
Kramer would have moved with the turtleneck.
Yeah.
Kramer with the high turtleneck.
Mm-hmm. Was it the Burrow?
Was it Burrow?
Was it Burrow? Like, it was, I'm talking like the high
white turtleneck with the suit.
turtleneck.
That's what he did, it was 2 years ago, whenever they went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And the Cartiers.
But he didn't have the cool jacket that Burrow had with it.
But yeah, I think having a point guard and someone that you know can be your floor general, your on-court coach, it's a huge difference. And that's what we're trying to battle right now, because Poa is playing great basketball right now. Haley's playing very good basketball, but it's flipping a coin who's going to be at the one, who's going to be at the off guard, and then it's been tough for us to get in a rhythm, and our transition defense has been so bad that our guards are having to get back, and they're fouling. So Poa's in foul trouble here, so now Haley's got to go to the one, or Haley gets in foul trouble, and you're mixing up all these different lineup combinations. So what you'd love to see is point guard play continue to get better. I think, like I said, I don't think we have anyone selfish on our team. I think Haley's still trying to figure out when to pass, when to shoot, when to get a ball screen.
She looks like she's finding her way through it, like almost as if it wouldn't. If you didn't know and you watched the team play, like it looks like it's her first year on LSU's basketball team, where she joined a team full of elite talent, and she doesn't want to be the one to
Exactly.
Kobe at ISO, how she played at Louisville, where she had to. Now it feels like she's still picking her spots.
Yeah, and Coach tells her, like, you don't need to worry about making or missing shots. Just make sure you're taking good shots, making good passes, limiting turnovers.
Let the game come to you.
And yeah, exactly. Let the game come to you, because while we do have 5 kids that can go score 25, 30 a night, it's so cool as a staff to look at a stat sheet in a media timeout or at halftime or at the end of the game, and it's like 16, 14, 18, 12, 11, 9, balanced scoring. Because as an opposing coach, if I'm looking at that, it's like, who do we try and stop? And I think that's taken a lot of pressure off Angel this year. Angel's not having to put up 35 and 20 a game. Angel's getting to I think Angel leads the nation in free throw attempts. And she's like top 5 in free throw makes, or top 10. So she's not seeing as many double teams this year, which is, I guess, a direct correlation is she's getting to the foul line more. So it's a lot of one-on-one play for her. But Angel Reese is probably our best passer on the team. So she's getting Michaela involved. When teams have to go guard Anissa, like, you've got so many options. And we still haven't figured out what our most dangerous offense is. And yet we're still leading the country in scoring. So it's going to be really, really scary once this thing really starts to click. Because it's clicking right now. Like, don't get me wrong. We can score very easily. And we do it really well. But we're still leaving a lot of points out there. I mean, we went 3 or 4 minutes against Ole Miss without a bucket. So I think the biggest thing for tomorrow, and that we've been preaching, is try and start the game a little bit faster. We did a great job against Ole Miss starting the game fast from an offensive standpoint, but we're giving up way too many points to them. Like Ole Miss, they beat Alabama 55-45 the game before us, and then we give them 37 points in the first half. So it's like our defense has to get better. We're not going to be able to keep outscoring teams, but hell, if your defense isn't good, make sure your offense is really good. So,
games tomorrow at the PMAC. Do you have any special occasions? Is there any specific promo you'd like to give, or you just say, hey, you know what?
I think Red Panda was at the last home game, was she not?
Yeah, Red Panda was at the last one. I'm not sure.
When are you going to start throwing? When are you going to be the guy throwing stuff to Red
Feeding
Panda?
her the ball, assist?
Yeah, assist.
Maybe one day.
Okay.
Tomorrow, it's one of those games. It's like, I feel like students are slowly starting to trickle back into town.
I feel like they're back now, right? They start next week. It's just the week where you come a little week early.
Yeah.
So you go
Oh, that's
out,
what you used to do. Okay.
You come out. You
Nah, he
you
came
go
in to
out.
get
You go
extra
enjoy
cuts
it.
in before.
Yeah, I need to get
Yeah,
working.
yeah,
Not
to
working.
get work.
You
But you
work.
come in. You come
Gotta
early. You
work.
come back a week early because hey, the bars are popping. Bars are popping a little bit more than they had been during the holidays, and you get to enjoy it. So
Good to see you.
I'd imagine how was your break?
How was your break?
You studied? Did you get a winter session? Did you
Just
study?
working. Just working.
What class are you taking this fall?
How was your
in the,
ski
in the
trip?
spring semester? How was
You
your
go to
ski
the
trip?
beach.
You know, it's great. How was your Christmas? What'd you get from Santa Claus? All those conversations
How
happen.
was you taking this?
You just
semester?
catch up. Yeah,
Are we in
right.
any
And what's your
classes?
major?
Yeah, what's
Did
your
you decide to change?
Really getting you feet.
Where are you
buried
interning?
in, huh?
Interning is a big thing. Where are you going to intern this summer?
I can help you on the LSU
Yeah.
baseball team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You'll be a bat girl.
I mean, we've had tremendous crowds. That's one thing.
You put a good word in.
Like our first year that we were here,
All
it
the
was
words.
like pulling teeth trying to get fans at our games, and they slowly started to show up. And then last year the fans were great, but like you look on the stat sheet at Jacksonville, we had 12,300 fans. Like
Right.
Missouri, we had 11,500, I think. Like we're getting great turnouts. Now the next step, now that we're in conference play, is these games are going to be a little bit closer. Teams are a little bit better. So we need that energy to continue to get better because there's a difference in 11,500 quiet fans and 11,500 crazy fans.
Oh, yeah.
So as our students slowly start to trickle back in, I'm excited because we've got home game Thursday, then we go on the road Sunday, and then we go on the road again Thursday. So we'll be in Alabama for 2 games. We go Alabama Sunday, or Auburn Sunday, Bama Thursday. Then we come back, and we get a home game that Sunday against Arkansas, I think, which Mike Neighbors last year, their head coach, after the game talked about how impactful our crowd was, how we must feed them something crazy or give them alcohol, whatever it is.
Well,
well,
Yeah, that's
I
probably
mean,
what it is, alcohol.
it's
Yeah,
LSU.
we don't provide it.
We don't provide it, the university does. So
Heineken Silver.
Heineken Silver. Maybe if you're going out to the game tomorrow, pack. Look, fit right in the holster, real nice. The back pockets and the pockets and the hoodies. You can pack a few in there, and they go down easy. Maybe chug a few before you go, a couple before you get in there, and then just have some.
You just get to working.
Concealed carry.
I'm kind of glad we're on the road next week. As you mentioned, that weather's going to be brutal, so students don't have to worry about having to wait outside. Maybe they might have some classes canceled next week. But the week after that, and I hate leading up to it because you got to take every game one game at a time.
But it's staring you right in the face.
Yeah, we're looking at some pretty big things for the South Carolina game, and it's something that we want the students to be involved with. We've been working with some local establishments to make sure that full day is
Special
hyped.
day.
Yeah,
Special.
It's
Special.
not just going to be one of those you show up at 7 and tip it off. I mean, we're talking morning, afternoon.
Yeah, kind of
rolling
like
in.
a
after.
Duke UNC type thing. Go camp out and in the tents and stuff.
Krzyzewski'sville.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. Like that, you got that one circled.
Well, before you get to that, right? This is a
Clear
good
my
way.
schedule.
This is a good way to kind of get reacclimated to that scene.
Yeah.
Right? Come out there early tomorrow.
Yeah.
Go out there, have some drinks, have some Heineken Silvers. Very light beer, 95 calories, 4% alcohol. Very easy to drink.
Easy
It's
to
going to be
pour.
crisp. It's going to be cool outside.
For the ones on campus early.
For the ones on campus early, right? So you hydrate, get there early. Use this as a show out and just practice. You have to get back into the swing of things.
It's a good conversation starter. Makes
lead
Get some
Yeah.
cuts in the
easier.
cage.
Listen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
This is how you get going.
That's how you get conversations happening. Dude, we appreciate you. It was fun last night. We had fun
General
last night.
City.
It's a good time. What about crazy college football day today?
Yeah.
Listen,
Football doesn't
we hit on
stop. They
it.
don't sleep, dude.
We hit on it early because obviously that's what leads the show. LSU not only hired their defensive line coach, who's from your alma mater,
Yep.
right? Who has Bo Davis, right? Bo
Yes.
Yeah.
Bo Davis has the support and the backing of all of these former Marcus Spears, all these guys who know him personally. Obviously, he's one of the hottest names out there in the coaching world. He was a high priority for LSU. Go out and get him. They spend the money to go get him. I think that's a huge get. And then that's followed up with even bigger news and Nick Saban retiring. So, A lot of
Got it
conversations.
It was a
better
huge
than us.
get because he was huge and he cut his teeth here as well.
No
too.
doubt.
So that's, he was here at the beginning of the Saban thing. And
He's got a kid
obviously-
here, right? As kids in high school here?
I think he's at Southeastern.
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 Or
Obviously,
college, that's right.
very, very, very well revered here. And obviously people respect what he's done over his career as well.
And it's a good feather in the cap for LSU to still see that Pete Jenkins was on the radio earlier, who coached the D-line kind of from the fourth week on, I believe. And he was talking about Bo Davis. He talked to him last night because Bo called Pete for counsel as if he should take the job or not. And he was like, look, I know you're just like me. When we cut you open, you bleed purple and gold. And for that to still mean something, that's what LSU's calling card still is.
No
Whether
doubt.
you like it or not, if you've been here, if you've come to LSU, if you played for LSU, that doesn't leave you. And so for LSU to be able to go and get a Bo Davis, I don't care what the number is on the contract. It's big. But to be able to still have the conversation, why would he leave Texas? They were just in the college football playoff, no offense.
Yeah.
But that's such a huge get, and it's because of the Louisiana ties and everything that LSU still means to guys that haven't been here in 20 years.
And, obviously you've had some guys leave, right, on the defensive line.
Always come back.
But you have a lot of talent there. Now, young talent, moldable talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys who you want him there to develop. I mean, McKinley coming in from Acadiana is a 5-star. You have extremely talented guys that are there on the front four right now. And to bring this guy in to be able to go and develop those guys and get the most out of those guys. Now, obviously, Maason Smith declared. He may be gone for good. Who knows? But there is an opportunity
Big
for him to
fish
say.
to pull back in.
Exactly. There's an opportunity for him to say, oh, hold on. Look, I'm not a scout. I'm not doing this grading. I would have to imagine he did not get a first-round grade. I have to imagine that. Like, maybe potentially if he goes and tests well, but
Go ahead.
I would have to imagine, like, these guys, these teams aren't going to be able to just go out there and say, hey, you know what, we're going to take you in the first round because of your pure talent. Like, you've got to be able to show them something, right? He's been hurt. He's coming off injury. Didn't have an outstanding
Didn't
year.
go
Not
the
saying
way he
anything
wanted
bad
it
about
to.
him, his ability. But, maybe he got a second, third round, or maybe he thinks, okay, I'm going to go out there. Or maybe he doesn't have his grade yet, right? Because, they go out, he declares, and maybe he gets his grade, and they say, hey, you're a third rounder. You go have a good test. You have a good thing, maybe, into the second round. I think if he comes back and he develops under Bo Davis, he could be a bona fide first rounder, right? And, health is an issue. You talked about that yesterday. We were texting about it. Is like, does he trust that he's going to be able to stay healthy, or does he want to maximize his ability to go to the NFL right now, even if that means getting drafted a couple rounds, 2 or 3 rounds later than he maybe should have?
Look, I think the kid's a great talent. I think he's got a bright future. I think he's got an opportunity to do some really good things. Could we all sit here and say that he was probably at his healthiest and most effective this year? I don't think that's true. I don't think he would look in the mirror and say that that's true. But we all know what meat is actually on the bone and what possibility and what he could possibly do, right? With that being said, I don't know how much the health thing looms over him in the sense of, hey, am I going to be able to get there and then get to contract number 2? That may be a big, big thing for him. And understandably so. But I do think there is a situation for him, like I'm just specifically speaking for him, that if he feels that he can stay healthy, if he feels that he could get healthier, I don't really know if there's healthier that he needs to be. I don't know where it is for him. Right. Wherever it is for him, though, if he feels like there is more that he can get by being back here and improving, because that's what the name of the game. Yep. I don't really care what it is. Obviously, if you feel like the better chance for you to improve is to go to the NFL and improve, by all means, go ahead and do it, right? But if you feel like there's a better opportunity to get back here and improve, to be able to put yourself up to make a better payday in the start, that would be the move to do. That is to be seen, if that's what's going to be the case, whether he continues to go on or he comes back.
And here's the other part of it, right? Obviously, we talk about Maason Smith. That would be a big get to get him back. Now, I'm not saying he is or he is not coming back. What?
Before, I don't know if you're to switch topics or not, but I wanted to ask, like, y'all would know this better than obviously me, but is there a world where a guy comes in from high school and he has his kind of mindset, like he has his mindset of, I'm only going to go to college for 3 years,
Yes.
kind of like,
Yes.
no matter what happens, because I think of like Anthony Johnson when I think of that, of obviously a huge recruit. he thinks he's going to go in the league. It doesn't go your way, but he's like, I'm going anyway.
Yep, a lot of guys have it in baseball.
Yeah.
Hey, basketball. I know I'm going to school for a year. I'm gonna put myself in the draft. I know I'm talented enough because everybody's told me how talented I am. And I know how talented I am. My performance on the field or the court or wherever did not equal that, but I know I still have it, and I know people still think highly of me. So, hey, 3 years and I'm out. Yes, that does happen.
There's the other back end part of it too that we'd be remiss to not sit here and bring it up. You don't know what's going on in his home life.
Right.
We have no clue what his family situation truly is, whether it's put out there that way or not. You don't know. So you don't know how much of that quote-unquote 3-year plan was to get to the next spot, to be able to help that and or whatever it is.
Right.
We don't know the answer to that stuff. We're going to have to wait and see.
And look, that 3-year plan, he says, hey, you know what, I'm gone. I'm here coming for 3 years and I'm gone. That can change. Bo Davis can come in and say, hey, listen, I get that. I get that you wanted to leave. But look, with NIL and the ability that we have to maybe give you a little bit extra money and my ability to be here now and feel like I can develop you into the guy that I know that you think that I know that you are, and now that I know that you are, maybe that's enough to say, hey, look, we're going to be able to take care of you financially more than ever before in college football, and I'm also going to be able to develop you so that you are going to put yourself in a position to make generational money and be in the NFL for a really long time. So these are the conversations that I would have to imagine are happening now, and that are going to continue to happen now. With Bo Davis leaving Texas, right? Texas is coming off a really good season, playoff type season. They're coming off a season where their defensive line was one of the best in the country. Now, I'm not saying guys are going to leave because they do have a really good program over there and they're kind of on the upswing. But some of those guys went there for him. So who's to say him leaving doesn't mean that you get some transfers that come in and the defensive line that kind of fit right in there. So I think that's the next step is he's coming into a position, a group in the defense that's maybe a little lighter than they would like it to be. Maybe a little lighter than they thought maybe it was even going to be this year, going into the year. So it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of makes that transition and brings guys over.
You also have to look down the pipeline, too, because it's not just the kids that are at Texas now or the ones that are committed. I mean, you're talking about the relationships that Bo's probably built with 26s, 27s, 28s, and he's coming back to LSU. Not only is he going to hit on all those kids that they're looking at, or he's been looking at it to go to Texas, but now he can tap back in to his Louisiana pipeline because you're recruiting a completely different type of kid now from a geographical standpoint. In Texas, you've got Dallas, you've got Houston.
Development, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's my question, Lloyd. Who is the kid from Duncanville?
Colin Simmons.
Does this make a difference in him?
I don't know how the transfer portal works if you've already signed your national letter of intent. If he can hop into the portal or if it – I don't know how it works for freshmen.
Yeah, but don't you – if you're at school and you can transfer it, it does not mean the same thing. Like, hey, you could technically go, I'm going to show up, I'm going to roll early, and I'm going to transfer in –
I guess I would imagine if he is an early enrollee, I don't know if he is or not, but I guess that would probably have a bearing in it if he's already enrolled.
I don't think he's going to move over, but
no, but it's an
that's
interesting question. I haven't seen a freshman do it yet, to where they.
I think this happened before.
Really?
Don't quote me on it, but I think that I remember seeing somebody sign and, well, I take that back. The quarterback from Florida, remember that whole situation? Last year, signed with Florida and signed his letter of intent, got promised all this NIL stuff, and then left.
I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was literally just last year.
Raiola?
No. It was somebody. No. It was last year that happened.
It was a big deal. He ended up getting out of his letter of intent.
Because there was publications that did stories on it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that was a special occasion. I don't know if that was
Jade Rashada released from commitment to Florida football.
There you go.
Yeah.
And here's your thing. Like you're saying, like if that was a special situation, let's be honest. If that was somebody else is going to find another way to be able to do it if there's a blueprint for it.
Right. Hey, I went here because this guy recruited me. He's not there anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
And now you look at Bama, for instance. Their 30-day window opens up Today. So kids are going to leave. I mean, let's be honest.
That's what I was saying. I don't know how many are going to leave right away because
Yeah.
I think Saban's there right now still.
Yeah.
Right? He's not, hey, I'm retired, I'm done.
Right.
Right? He's going to transition the next coach. He's going to try to keep everything together as best he can until they make that decision.
Yeah.
So some guys are going to leave, but I think some guys may kind of wait and see. Now, they're going to make this decision. They're going to hire the next guy within 30 days. I would imagine.
I'd hope. I mean, you got to think less
I would
than that. I'm
imagine.
thinking probably, what's today?
A week? I
I'm
think they
thinking
already
less
have
than
their
that.
guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and I don't know much about football. I think just from what I've read and heard, I think it's Dan Lanning, Dabo, and Kiffin are there.
And that's what they say, right?
D'Amico Ryans.
It's hard for me to believe Kiffin is.
D'Amico Ryans, he ain't leaving that.
He ain't
No,
going
that's,
anywhere,
that's,
Coach.
that's what I'm saying. Somehow made his way on that list because he played football. I think he's doing just fine with the Texans.
He's in the playoffs.
He's an NFL guy.
But that's such an Alabama thing. Like, he don't want to come back.
Bill Belichick.
He's on
Bill
the list.
Belichick's on the short list. You know, he's going to be done maybe in New England.
I
Well,
heard
he cut his
Parcells
teeth
is
in
out
college.
there too. Yo,
Yeah. Joe Walsh.
Pete Carroll's coming back.
This is the
It, right? Pete Carroll did it at USC.
Brian
USC.
Kelly.
Duh. Like, why would he not go there,
Right?
right?
I mean, a tale as old as time.
But I would imagine it's going to be a quick decision.
Yeah.
But
you talk about like recruits, how it's weighing already on Alabama. Their number one recruit that they had, 5-star wide receiver, number one receiver in the country, who forewent his senior year of college, like he reclassified in
High school.
2024. Ryan Williams has just withdrawn his name from Alabama and decommitted.
And he's opening up his visits, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he was supposed to take an official on the 20th, and now it's between Texas and maybe Auburn.
Auburn's a big player in the money game.
Yep. Auburn's and Ole Miss is too. Now, Lane Kiffin's an interesting candidate. Obviously, he's always going to be around that because
How full is that well right now, though? Huh? God.
Yeah, he did not see this.
Yeah, I don't know how much is.
Like, how much is still in that collective? Huh? Like, that thing's got to be.
There's big
Towards
money.
the bottom,
There's big
huh?
money in Oxford, but
There is. I mean, I'm not saying you can't put more into it, but
and they've done a lot.
can't be at. Yeah.
It's not what Alabama is, but they've done a lot in Oxford right now to put themselves in a position to be power player. And
If Ole Miss didn't do what they did this year, I would say far and
Yeah.
away Lane would be the favorite. But considering how much
is he going to leave?
Right, he's
You know
kind
what
of
I
got
mean?
Ole Miss where he wants it. Like
And
they're
like-
finally getting money to where he can build his own program.
And I think he's comfortable with Pete there. And so you're saying Pete's going to go back to Bama? Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, now Pete may take the Ole Miss job as a head coach, which would be really cool for him if that's the opportunity that he has if Lane takes the Alabama job. Now, I don't know. And look, you can say, well, you know, yeah, he's doing really well at Ole Miss and he's established there. Still not the same as Alabama, and 1,000,000% true. Not the same, right? Alabama's a different animal, but is it worth leaving what you've built at Ole Miss to go back to Alabama, take on that monster, and take on the pressure that's going to come with it and saying, hey, you know what, I'm at Ole Miss right now, I'm 11-2. 2 straight years I've won 11 games.
They couldn't love me more.
This
They
is
lo- and they
they're
love him
so
there.
happy.
they absolutely love him there.
Right. Now I go 11-2 at Alabama. I ain't good as Saban. I'm not, so does he want to do that?
It's wild.
He
You know,
tweeted this.
Go ahead. He never stops.
It never stops. Flight tracking season is back.
He never stops.
He's such a troll.
I think this
He
was
is
going
a
to be.
troll.
I think Mikey's right. I think it's going to be a quick hire. I think by probably Friday, I think Alabama has their guy.
Well,
Maybe
that's quick.
I mean,
it could
that
be-
means they had their guy there.
Yeah, I
Who
think they did.
is Sexton Saban's agent? Gotta be right. Yeah, like
Whose agent isn't he? That's a better
In
question.
the if you're in the SEC, Sexton's your agent.
yeah.
Sexton's also probably going to be the agent of the next guy who gets the
Oh,
job.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? So
Hey, Sexton's about to get even richer.
Got 6
He's
phones.
going to float about 4 different names out there that he represents all of and be like, oh, you get a pay
okay,
raise. You get
so
a pay raise.
look, Dan Lanning's the popular name. He's also 37. I know it's easy for people to say Dan Lanning's the guy because of the ties and because of the success that he's had. Now, he's not as established as some of the other coaches that may be on this list.
So
Is Alabama a job that you say, I'm going to go and hire this guy who we think's going to be good, who has been good, but we're going to give him the keys to this Ferrari. We're going to give him the keys to the castle, and we think he's going to be able to take over? Or do we look to somebody who has a lot longer of a track record of being successful and taking over that situation, right? Because, similar to the LSU coaching search, everybody was looking at Billy Napier. Everybody was looking at all these up-and-comers. And Woodward felt like, no, the guy that we needed is somebody who's established, who has been around, who's been successful for a lot longer than these guys, because you don't know.
Name was not on the board.
And name was not on the board, right?
But you got to also think when you mention Lanning, like, I would imagine that he has a SEC like blood to him, and being like he wants to cut and stay and coach in the SEC type of a situation. But when you leave and you go to Oregon for 1 year and you have the success you've had there, 1 year or 2 years he's been there.
I think this is the second.
This is the second year. And you go and you have the success that you've had there. First off, Oregon's no sleeper of a program.
Right.
And they're in the backyard of an absolute money monster. I don't foresee this late in the game that they would just go down without a fight and say, yeah, Dan, you could just go ahead and walk, and we're just
$20 million
we're just shit out of luck,
Yep.
and we won't know where to go. Right. So I would imagine them making it really, really, really hard for him to walk this early in his tenure there.
Yeah.
$20 million buyout. Like we talked about the buyouts, like Alabama has to pay Oregon $20 million to buy him out of his contract. Right.
And if they want anybody
And
from the staff.
I don't think
And if
money's.
they want anybody from their staff, that's gonna be an expensive hire.
Yeah.
Now, they've got it.
They haven't had to pay a buyout in a long time.
Right, they got it.
So the way I thought about it was like, because nowadays the only time coaches get replaced is if there's an NCAA investigation or if the coach gets fired. This is very similar to when Krzyzewski stepped down a couple years ago. Now, he had his guy. It was going to be Jeff Capel for all those years, and then Krzyzewski, I got a couple more years. So Capel left and goes to Pitt, and then Shire's the next one up. But Krzyzewski had time to groom Shire. He knew everything about Duke basketball, obviously played there. Yeah. So Saban's mentored and groomed a ton of guys. So that's the thing.
They're not all in the building anymore, though.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly. So are they going to – I mean, obviously Bama's going to let Saban have a say, I believe, in who –
I would imagine he's going to pick the next guy.
Yeah. I agree.
At worst, he's got to be in the room when they are making the decision.
Like he will be next hand in hand with the president and the athletic director.
So
I don't know if he makes the actual decision, but I think you're going to get the list and you're going to get it back.
Hey, who do you like? I like this guy, and the guy's like, okay, I agree.
Yeah.
Here's another.
Don't listen to me. I'm just Nick Saban. I'm just a doctor.
Another interesting question is like Saban had created a ton of positions on his staff. Probably more than any coach is not allowed to, but any coach in the country because of what he had done at Alabama. So my question is, like, Charlie Strong's on staff at Alabama. You got a bunch of these coordinators and analysts. Do you think with this new coach, how many of those guys are going to be able to come in and say, hey, I'm bringing my staff from another school?
That's the other thing. There's going to be other guys that –
Because, I mean – to me, I mean, Coach Mulkey called it. She said it before the playoffs. She said, I think Saban's done. And
I will say this, though. But with that said, calling it, my brother-in-law, Andrew Simon, his girlfriend, before the season started, she pretty much nailed it. She said Nick Saban is going to he's not going to win a national championship. Well, she said he wasn't going to make the playoffs and then retire. He got into the playoffs, barely made the playoffs, and retired. So she called it from the beginning. Give her props. Like she said, and a lot of people were saying, oh, it looks like it's going to be his last year. She said it like in the summer.
Definitively.
So shot, good job. Like she nailed it. But to your point, like I think people saw the writing on the wall. It was hard. It's easy to say it, and I don't think it's because he lost a step. I don't think it's because he lost his fastball. I don't think it's because he had any ability. He lost any ability to affect any of the players and recruits that he has. I think he decided that time is right. There may be some other things going on that we don't know about. And he decided, you know what, I'm going out on my own terms. I don't need to win another national championship to go out on a high note. I am the high note. And, I think that's why. I don't think it had anything to do with him not being able to do it.
Okay, so as far as for straight up coaching, no, he did not lose his fastball.
Right.
As far as for program running, I think he lost his fastball in the sense of he didn't do the arm care programs that everybody got up to throwing 95 and 97 with. I think he was still doing his program, and he did a better job than some at adjusting to the program. But what now is free agency, way more than what free agency is, I think he had a system that was far above what everyone else did and ran, and now the entire game has been
Starting to
opened up
catch
to
up.
something. Starting to.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. That's why I said, did he lose his fastball? No, I just don't think he did the other programs as much as everyone else did, in the sense of, let's be honest, the last 3 years, you wouldn't sit here and say Alabama's the absolute leader in NIL. And
No.
That's
right.
so my point is, when that is no longer in your court, when that ball is no longer really in your court, and you can't just have hey, listen, let me call up Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien will call up Tom Brady. Tom Brady will call up Rob Gronkowski, and I'll put you on the phone with those guys. When that no longer is
The answer.
and the answer is, hey, coach, that's cool, man. Like, Rob's cool.
How much are you gonna pay me?
Does he have $200,000 that he can give me?
Right.
I'm throwing a number out there, right?
No,
My
right.
point is when that is in there as well, I think that becomes a little bit of it too. And I don't think that he was as willing to go to the lengths that people had, and you've seen it in press conferences. He's come out and called out Alabama support. Hey, we need this, or we are not going to compete. Right? I don't think he was, and I think that may be something that's like, hey, man, like, I'm tired of dealing with that too.
I agree. I think that
game.
like,
The game
he's
changed, exactly.
He's getting older now. At the same time, in that same vein, like, I agree with that 100%. Like, I think that's part of the reason why he maybe said it's my time to go. Right? He made his decision of when it was time. With that said, though, he still has had top 3 recruiting classes of the last 3 years of the NIL. So, not saying he wasn't over it, or not saying that it was part of the reason, because I think it definitely was.
Yeah.
But even with it, he was still bringing in the top tier talent.
He still knew how to play the game.
And so I think
But
it's
it
just
becomes
his
such a
way of saying,
tiresome effort.
Yeah, I think
tired,
that's what
no.
it is. I think
Yeah.
it's,
$365
hey, I've
a year.
known and I've mastered this. And now this is no longer the game. You've
Exactly.
completely changed it. And I don't know if I'm truly on board with what you've changed it to.
Exactly.
I think
I don't wanna go
that's
back to
been
school.
I think that's been in there a little bit as well.
Right.
What
So-
a
And but he went back to school, like he
yeah,
went
that's what
from
I'm saying,
being
but I don't want to do it again and again.
But say
like,
he's done it in the sense of, like, the game changed. Like, it went from SEC was defensive.
Yeah,
and I'm defensive, and I've cut my teeth being a defensive minded. That no longer plays. I got to make this thing offensive, right? Like, he's done all of those things, and he did this one as well. And I just feel like that's probably one he's not willing to continue chasing that
it's
that
exhausting.
rat. Yeah.
No doubt.
What made Kim say that? Because I see a lot of similarities between the two, so I'm wondering if she had some sort of, like, just innate feeling of, I've been there, I know the grind that he's going through, it feels like it's time.
I think she saw, and I don't know. She's been
Because
doing it.
they're essentially, she's the Nick Saban of women's basketball.
Yeah, I mean, Gino probably.
Yeah, well.
But he's only done it at one school. Saban's been the type that's bounced around, won a championship at LSU, obviously, then went to the NFL for a little bit, and then obviously won 6 at Bama. But I guess when you're in it as long as Coach Mulkey's been in it and as long as Saban was in it, you have a lot of similarities. And I think after the Texas loss, and then she just saw they kept winning, and it's just Bama football, Bama just figuring out ways to win. Very similar to a lot of her teams at Baylor, and even us at LSU. Like, you lose one, you just keep finding ways to win. At 72, it's got to take a little bit of a toll. And the other thing is, like, what more could you accomplish? Like, yeah, it would have been nice to ride off in the sunset, win a natty this year, but, like, next year with the playoff going to 12 teams, the college game is continuing to change. Like, what more do you have, Saban? Like,
Yeah.
go on college
What do
game
you have
day.
to prove?
Yeah, take Corso's spot. Or
There's something to be
on
said
game day
about,
with it.
like, quality of life, right? Like, do you want to be Joe Pa, where, like, you're coaching until you pass away? Or do you want to say, hey, I left this legacy, and I did what I needed to do, and now I'm rewarding myself with
I get
the ability to retire on my own terms and be able to live
reap
the end of my life the way I
reap
want
the
it to end of my
benefits
life.
of being
Like,
a
he's not dying.
living legend, right?
Right.
Like, where he could, I see a world where he probably does go on game day.
No doubt.
Where he might, like, probably continues to do, like, the segment with McAfee. Well, he'll probably be able to come in studio now. Like, live off the name that you built for yourself and enjoy everything you get to do now,
doubt.
because there's not a door that won't open when Nick Saban walks up to it.
doubt.
See, that's fair, completely fair. I also think guys like Saban are cut from a extremely different cloth, and they don't. Whether you can understand it, they don't think in terms of stuff like
Enjoyment.
that. They really don't.
Yeah.
They like. I just don't think that that's what they think. Like, And I there's stuff that's going on, probably, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was I could ride off into the sunset. But 100%. I also don't think a guy like him is chasing, hey, I have to win a championship to be able to leave, right? Like, it's somewhere in between, but those guys they're different, man. Like they're like somebody like a Kobe. Like Kobe never had to come back when he came back after the Achilles. Kobe didn't have to keep playing. He didn't have to do what he was doing at that point. But that's just the cloth that he's cut from, and that's how he operates, you know?
It's like Tiger. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be
golf. And then
he loves it.
As long as he's out there, you feel like, fuck, he's got a shot.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt. He loves it. And look, best of luck to him in whatever he does. I'm curious. I'm anxious to see what happens with this whole situation.
The domino effect.
Yeah, exactly. So
he's going to be so bored at home.
He's not going to be
literally a absolute domino chip nobody saw fall. Like literally saw fall.
And I'm hoping that everything's okay at home, right? Like I'm hoping that there's nothing behind the scenes that forced his way this way, or if there is and it's a decision he wanted to make for his family, like great, right? But he's earned every right to do whatever he needs to do on his time, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. I'm very happy as an LSU fan that you don't have to deal with them every year. But there's a lot of changes that are about to happen in college football, and this is one of them. And we will see. We could talk about this all night.
Yeah,
we're winding down.
God, I was about to say something else.
I know. We're winding down. We're gonna look Friday
tomorrow morning
and Friday.
We
have a show here live Friday from 1 to 3, and we're gonna be able to talk a lot about what's gonna happen. Maybe there's more news that happens before
I would imagine
then.
we're getting more.
Yeah, exactly. That we're gonna talk about. So. Joe, we appreciate you being on the show. We're going to end the show. Obviously not yet, but we have our segments. Yeah. You can just bounce with us. We're going to go to our next segment. The mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
The mistake of the day is not a singular mistake, as it were. It is just a recap of what has happened so far in 2024, and I will read you the list. We are approximately 10 days in.
I think it's pretty much actually.
We're literally
10 days in.
Literally 10 days in.
Almost 11 in.
And this
we're
is
4 hours away from 11 days.
We have you seen the Bass Pro Shop guy?
How do you not see him?
Well,
it's hard to see.
It's hard to see. It's cold in there.
Well, it depends on what part of him you're looking at.
At the end of the whole thing, it may be stuck on the ground after it got dragged out of there.
That was the funniest shit of all time. He was still all lubed up that they just
dragged him.
He looked like a mop.
Yeah, it was tough.
So we've had Bass Pro Shop guy. The Nevada dude assaulting a judge where he jumped over.
Wild.
The kid that got stuck in a vase. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that one.
Okay, I might pull that one up then. Elon Musk for Mark Cuban on Twitter, which is all over the place. The Jewish tunnels in New York City.
Crazy.
The Boeing plane malfunction where the doors got blown off of it.
And the iPhone fell out from 16,000 feet and still
60,000 feet, right? Or 16,000? 16,000.
But still worked perfectly.
Yeah, not broken.
That's a great. Hey, good on you.
Great
advertisement
right there.
Or that might have been an Apple plant that just dropped one and was phone's good.
Maybe so.
Aliens in Miami.
Yep, crazy.
Jersey Jerry hole in one.
Unbelievable.
Aaron Rodgers versus Jimmy Kimmel.
Unbelievable.
Nick Saban retiring, and Cat Williams.
And the other guy, who was the other one that was going against like the Washington Post or whatever it is, like the other guy who's trying to call everybody out.
Oh, I deleted that one because I didn't know what it meant.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Calling people out.
Yeah, that was on this list also.
Epstein's list.
Mistakes of the year.
Oh, yeah,
unbelievable.
Mistakes of the month, and we're 10 days in.
Mistake of the week and a half.
Of 2024.
Unbelievable.
Great year.
Mistake of the day. Brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place. Also a great place to go eat some burgers and food and dinner and lunch and all the good things. All right. Curtain call brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners. What we got today, boys?
I'll lead it with just as low-hanging fruit. Look, I got some friends that are Pacific Northwesterners that this one probably hits a little home to them, man. I know for me, being in high school, watching USC at that point do what they did and how into the culture and into pop culture that place was largely built around who Pete Carroll was at the time and what he built there, what we know and what we think and everything we think of the Seattle Seahawks to this day is what Pete Carroll built there as well. And he's one of, I think, maybe 2 or 3 coaches to win a college national championship and an NFL Super Bowl. So my curtain call will be to the career of Pete Carroll.
He's still going to be involved, apparently, with
he will,
Seahawks.
but as a coach, those days are numbered or done, if you will. And what he's done has been impressive. So
Look, we haven't even touched the NFL landscape right now, which is wild too. Like, coaches are gone. Eberflus is there, staying. So now Jim Harbaugh is definitely not going to Chicago. Looks like L.A. may be the spot.
looks like I've been on the phone with Jimmy Sexton or something.
No doubt. Black Monday was a big deal.
Me.
Danny Yee.
He did, but I've been talking to Jimmy, so that's how I know.
Like, Black Monday was a real deal. You got a lot of guys that are fired.
I'm Jimmy's guy.
Yeah, you know.
Bill Belichick's probably going to be next. That domino, however that happens, is probably next. We haven't even talked about that. We're going to talk about that on Friday. Obviously, we ran out of time today. Lloyd, what's your curtain call?
My curtain call is to Brad Davis. If you have headphones, you will want to hear this because it's his speech on the bus, and he has a very spirited tone. This is after losing 30-7 to Iowa State on the bus, where he is just absolutely shredding everyone. And talk about how his opinion on the transfer portal is. You'll hear it.
Get in the transfer portal. You want to go? Get in the motherfucker. This shit ain't a game to me. And if you think it's a game, get the fuck off of this bus. I got my ass kicked. And you motherfuckers want to laugh? That's fucking real. You think it's a goddamn joke? And some of you motherfuckers do transfer out of this motherfucker. Cause I'm down this shit. This shit's goddamn real. And we wanna laugh and joke? Fuck that.
Coaches and rants after losses.
Hey,
Taylor's all the time. That is a coach.
Love that, huh?
no,
yeah.
that's football. You don't get that anywhere in baseball. It's football.
And he's coming here.
God damn it!
This is going to be great. That's what you need. You need some fire. You need someone who's going to be able to bring back the domination of the front four here. And what the fuck is this?
That's the kid that got stuck in the base.
Oh, never seen this.
Only Lloyd.
He handles it well.
Only
He
Lloyd.
freaks out.
Oh, my God.
Did they break it?
Yeah, they had to chisel him out.
Wow.
That's great.
Crazy.
Mississippi State.
Good.
Stark Vegas, baby. All right. My curtain call is to stats. And I'm about to give you a bunch of stats right here about Nick Saban. Not only about his accolades in his career, but what he meant to Tuscaloosa and what he meant to the University of Alabama. Not just on the football field, but what he did as a football coach that has grown economically the University of Alabama and the city of Tuscaloosa. So this is from Joe Pompliano. I've talked about him a lot. My favorite follow on Twitter, one of my favorite follows on Instagram. He talks about the business side of sports. He kind of breaks it down, gets the nitty-gritty inside of how deals were done and, how, MJ's deal was structured. He goes through all of it, right? Nick Saban had an insane resume, I'm quoting him, at Alabama. 6-time national champion, 9-time SEC champion, 206 and 29 career record in 17 seasons. If you can't do math, good.
Okay,
That is less than 2 losses a year.
How many did he have in his first year at Alabama?
I think he went 6-6, right?
He'd
And
take off.
that, and every year is 1 or 2 losses. I don't think he lost 3 losses. Had 3 losses in a year.
16 years, he would have had 23 losses.
Yep.
It's like 1.5.
Yes. Unbelievable. And that's not counting LSU stats, right? That's not counting the 2 SEC championships he had here at LSU. It's not counting a national championship he had here at LSU. But this is strictly about Alabama. Financially, it's even crazier. The quote-unquote Flutie effect, which is the Doug Flutie whenever he was at Boston College, kind of had a similar effect to their university there. Kind of put it on the map and, athletically made it appealing for people to go to. Since Nick Saban arrived in 2007, Alabama's enrollment has increased from 25,000 students to 40,000 students. That's a 60% jump compared to a 10% national average. So around the country, the national average of growth between 2007 till now in enrollment on these colleges around the country is 10%. Alabama's was 60%. the type, quote unquote, of student matters a lot more than just the number. Alabama went from the majority of its student body consisting of in-state students to the majority now being from out of state. Why does that matter? The in-state tuition for Alabama to go to Alabama is $11,000. The out-of-state tuition to go to Alabama is $32,000. Alabama increased its annual revenue by hundreds of millions of dollars under Nick Saban. That's not because of just what he did on the football field. That's because it's made
People wanted to go to
Alabama a lot more appealing. Made Tuscaloosa a lot better. If you go drive around Tuscaloosa, you know, the upgrades and what they've done there and the business and the money that is rolling around Tuscaloosa is amazing. And that's because of what he brought there and what he's done. Alabama paid Nick Saban $130 million over 16 seasons, but you could argue he was worth more than $1 billion. Alabama Chancellor Robert Wood said Nick Saban is the best investment this university has ever made. Can't argue with that. The numbers are the numbers. The stats are the stats. Somebody's going to come down, hopefully it's Joe, because I want to give him as much props. Somebody's going to come down with a full economic breakdown of what has happened in the state of Alabama and the city of Tuscaloosa from 2007 until now under Nick Saban. And so that's my curtain call. Not just a football coach, but what he meant to the state of Alabama and the city of Tuscaloosa. And I know it sucks because he's a rival, but he meant a lot here at LSU and Baton Rouge. And LSU wouldn't be where they're at without him. So that's my curtain call.
And we've got a small taste of it just with
The conference wouldn't be what it's at without him.
College football.
That's the truth.
Wouldn't be what it's at. Would
Yeah.
not be what it is without Nick Saban.
And like to put a bow on what you said, like LSU got a small taste of it, whatever it was at, kind of like the peak of its powers. Because, and I say that for like our first original Jack, Chris Edlow, came to LSU because he saw it on TV. He's from Connecticut. He's from Storrs, Connecticut. He could have easily gone to UConn. He saw everything that success that LSU was having on the football field, what it led to, and even baseball. And he was like, that place just looks like so much fun. I've never been there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go there for 4 years. Yeah. And it's literally, you picked it because of
LSU,
what you were doing on the football and baseball field.
LSU got a taste of it before
basketball.
anybody ever knew what it really was at the time. That's pretty much what it was.
Right.
So it's real.
Pretty impressive, man. And it's, we've all been very blessed and it's been a very cool situation for us to be able to grow up in it, right? Our parents saw it from a different perspective. We were from 11, when he got hired at LSU in 2000, I was 10 years old, right? And I got to watch it from a 10-year-old who was a diehard, that's all anything ever mattered was LSU, to now I am a 34-year-old professional watching it happen and still a fan of sports, and got to see his career unfold and then him retire. So that's a pretty cool thing to do. Not many people get to do that and be a part of that type of era. So that's, we're very lucky to see that. Joe, you got a current call?
Y'all have kind of covered everything that was, I guess, big.
That's okay.
Well,
you don't have to have one. I'll put you on the spot.
Let's do a curtain call to college football. And now it's basketball season.
There you go.
I know.
Put a bow on college football. It's great.
It's true. It's over.
A literal curtain call, closing the curtains on one season. It's crazy to think like
it's basketball season for 37 days.
We were talking about this. I think it was in Coach Mulkey's press conference. Like, we won the national championship in April, and here we are in mid-January, and the effects from that national championship are still overflowing into this year's team, and half the team wasn't even here last year. So, I know it was a sad day for my mom and her Bama family because that's their guy, and Dad being a Texas grad and brother being a Texas grad, and me, Bo Davis leaving. That's a hard loss for them, but. College football takes up so much of everyone's world from Labor Day weekend till now. And, I mean, obviously there's going to be big stuff in the news, but basketball's growing, the women's side especially. And now that I'm in the industry and have been in the industry for 3 years, it's cool to see.
Yeah.
Now that we get to be the focal point.
There you go. Shout out. Curtain call to basketball season. Curtain call, closing the door to football season. We appreciate you.
Heard you call it Alabama fans.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Roll Tide, sayonara.
Sayonara.
We appreciate
No
the
matter
love
how
and
good
support.
It is, it won't be the same.
Never gonna be the same.
Been there. I can speak
never.
on it.
Yeah. We'll be back live in studio this Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. We have a lot more, obviously, conversation about all sports. We're going to recap the women's basketball game that's being played tomorrow. We're going to talk more about the Saban situation, talk about the coaching changes that are happening at LSU, obviously in the NFL. There's a lot going on right now in the sports world that we didn't really get to today. We're going to get to it on Friday. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Baseball season's right around the corner, and we're looking forward to bringing you a lot more content similar to what we did last year. So if you can't watch us and you like listening to us, we're anywhere you get your pods. We appreciate you.
Didn't push the pod Monday.
We love you. Well, we didn't have a show Monday. We'll be back on Friday. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Peace.
Bye.
We off?
No.
What is?